Hey guys, it's me, Amaterasu, back with another part 2, the hope of the Senju clan, aka, what if Naruto was a Senju? Again, I'm sorry for the abrupt stop at the end of part 6, the reason is because the video maker that I'm using can only export a video up to 3 hours long, due to that I had to stop the vid mid-chapter, but don't worry, I'm picking up exactly where we left off, but anyways, without further ado, roll the intro.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
And I got all my feels. I'm getting this paper, I'm stacking a meal. I'm with your hoe in the house on the hills. Yeah. I'ma keep it real, at the sacrifice to try to get my bands up. Shorty wanna fuck with me, she see me on the camera. She said she in love with me, but really I can't stand her. She just want part of this life cause she see me on the ground.
Soon enough though, the identity of the unknown party was revealed, with four masked shinobis appeared on both sides of the groups, surrounding them. When the masked shinobis revealed themselves, Zabuza and Haku, along with Kakashi and his fellow Jonins, Kushina and Yamato, realized that the shinobis were hunter nins from Kiri, due to their masks. Shit, they found us quicker than I thought they would, thought Zabuza, before he turned slightly to Kakashi. Kakashi, you and your team should take the bridge builder and get out of here while you can, as they're after us. Not you and Quat. Before Kakashi could respond to this, the fifth person that they had sensed earlier appeared in front of the group and spoke up, that won't be necessary Zabuza, as we aren't here to fight you and Quat. Upon hearing this, the group quickly looked towards the person who had spoken. When they looked forward, they saw the person in question was a middle-aged man, wearing the same kind of uniform that Haku wore, and had blue hair and a patch over his right eye, along with the talismans on each ear with the kanji for a humble form written on them twice on each side. Ow! Spoke Zabuza in surprise, recognizing his former Anbu comrade, who was also the captain of the Hunter Nin division and was one of Kiri's best. It's been some time, Zabuza, Haku spoke. Ow. So the Mizukage has sent you after us. I'm flattered, spoke Zabuza, and he raised his sword, as he had no plans on making this easy for his men, where if he was going down fighting and would take as many of them with him as he could. Take it easy Zabuza, I told you already, we aren't here to fight you, spoke Ao. If you're not here to kill us, then why are you here? Asked Zabuza. We're here to take both you and Haku back to Kiri on the orders of the Godime Mizukages, as the Yondaime Mizukage Yagura is dead, said Ao, which surprised the majority of the shinobi group, as none of them had heard of the death of the Yondaime Mizukage or there now being a new Mizukage. After the surprise of this information sunk in, Zabuza then let out a low chuckle before he spoke. Hey, do you really think that I'm that stupid to fall for such a lame and obvious trick, Ao? It's no trick, Zabuza, as Yagura is indeed dead, as there was a coup d'etat and he was overthrown and replaced by the Godime Mizukage, answered Ao. Before Zabuza could reply this, Naruto spoke up. He's telling the truth, as I heard about it from Urosanin, a few weeks before I arrived in Konoha. When Zabuza heard this, he of course raised a non-existent eyebrow in surprise. And why the hell didn't you tell us earlier? I tried, but I never got a chance to, retorted Naruto. As this was going on, Ao eyed Naruto with curiosity, as he wondered how a young boy like Naruto learned of the coup d'etat, but before he could think about Naruto more, Ao heard Zabuza addressing him. So who exactly is the Mizukage now? Terumi May. Upon hearing this, Zabuza raised his non-existent eyebrows in surprise again. May? She the Mizukage now? Where Ao just nodded in confirmation. Do you know her, Zabuza-sama? Asked Haku. Yay, I met her a couple times, back before I found you, Haku. She is a powerful and highly gifted kunoichi, spoke Zabuza, for as much as he hated to admit it, May was stronger than him. But the thing that is most surprising about her, is that she is a bloodline holder, or to be more precise, she's a dual bloodline holder, where she possesses both the Yotan, lava release, and the Futon, boil release, bloodlines in Quat. After hearing this, Haku along with the Konoha Nin group were of course shocked, as none of them had heard of a dual bloodline holder. What was even more surprising was that Kiri of all places had elected a bloodline holder as their new Mizukage, especially given their past history when it came to bloodline holders. So why exactly did they elect May as the Mizukage? Asked Zabuza. When the Yondaime Mizukage was killed, the elders decided that to help heal the wounds of the bloodline purge between the remaining bloodline holders and the rest of the people, they would elect the Mei-sama as the new Mizukage, along with the fact that she was the strongest shinobi in the village in Quat. At this Zabuza just nodded again. So why does the god I'm Mizukage want me to come back to Kiri? Does she hope to make a mark for herself by having me executed in front of the village? Hardly, replied Ao. With you, Kisame and Raiga all gone rogue and the others members of the Mist Swordsman dead, the Kiri no Shinobi Gatana Shichinin Shu is practically non-existent, something that the god I'm Mizukage wants to change. That's why she sent me to find you, as she wants to rebuild the Kiri no Shinobi Gatana Shichinin Shu, and with you back in Kiri, it would be possible. Why me? Generally curious at how the god I'm Mizukage was willing to overlook the fact that he once tried to take over Kiri for himself. Well, you, Kisame and Raiga are the only surviving members of the Kiri no Shinobi Gatana Shichinin Shu. Both Kisame and Raiga are out of the question in being allowed to return to Kiri, given their crimes. But you can be accepted back, since your crimes are only of revolting against the Yondaime Mizukage, which can be forgiven, answered Ao. After hearing this, Zabuza didn't know what to think, for right now he was being offered a chance to return to his village, where he would no longer be a hunted man. But if he accepted, he would then most likely have to give up on his dream on being Mizukage. But given his own situation now, the chances of him ever becoming Mizukage were highly unlikely. As Zabuza thought more on Ao's offer, he glanced at Haku and remembered Naruto's words on how he had never considered Haku when it came to the decision he made. He also knew that regardless of his own feelings, Haku would follow him anywhere without compliant. So what is your answer? After much thought, Zabuza came to a decision. Fine, you got a deal in Quat. At this, Ao just nodded, as he was pleased with Zabuza's answer, preferring not fighting the former Mist Swordsman and would rather have him back on their side. When Haku heard Zabuza's answer, she was of course surprised by her master's answer, where he quickly turned to him. But Zabuza-sama, what about your dream? Some dreams are meant to just stay as dreams. Besides, for the past few years you've been helping me trying to achieve my dream. It's time that you've a dream of your own and live your own life as how you see fit, as staying on the run with me isn't a life for you nor one you deserve. And if that means I must give up on my dream on becoming Mizukage and return to Kiri, then it's a price I'm willing to pay in Quat. After Haku heard this, she didn't know what to say and her eyes became teary-like, but quickly wiped them away before they could fall. After which she then looked up at Zabuza and smiled, said, "Thank you," in Quat. With the matter of Zabuza and Haku returning to Kiri settled, the two groups headed back to the Wave Village, as there was going to be a party in the village, in celebration of finishing the bridge and Gato being gone, where Naruto, Kakashi and all the others were all invited as honored guests. The next day at the newly finished bridge, the following morning, after the celebrations in the village ended, the two Konoha teams were about ready to head back home to Konoha. Tazuna and the villagers of Nami no Kuni were of course all there to bid farewell to them, along with Zabuza and Haku, who were accompanied by Ao and his team, as they would be leaving right after Naruto and the others left. Although not everyone was a clear head or as happy, due too many people were suffering from severe hangovers, due to drinking too much. Well, this is where we part ways. Thank you all for everything you done. We won't forget what we done for us, especially you, Naruto, spoke Tazuna. Not a problem, Tazuna, spoke Naruto, before turning to Inari. Make sure to take care of your gramps and mom, Inari. Don't worry, Naruto ni-san, I will, replied Inari with a smile. After saying goodbye to the villagers of Nami no Kuni, Naruto turned to Zabuza and Haku. Well, we be seeing you around, brat, spoke Zabuza. Yeah, I've been seeing you, but don't forget what we talked about, said Naruto, where he shook hands with Zabuza, who just smirked behind his mask and nodded, saying he wouldn't. Take care, Naruto-kun, I wish you a safe journey home, spoke Haku, as the young female ice users shook hands with Naruto. You too, Haku-chan, I hope we met again soon, and this time not as enemies. As do I, replied Haku with a smile, after which Naruto and the others started their journey back to Konoha. As Naruto and the others headed back to Konoha, one of the villagers suddenly spoke up, so what do you think we should call the bridge? How about the Bridge of Hope, as this bridge was the hope our country, spoke another villager, where many muttered in agreement. I've a better idea, I think we should call it, the Great Naruto Bridge, in honor of the boy who helped save our country and helped give us back our hope and courage. Besides, I think the name would help bring good luck to the bridge, as I'm certain we be hearing many great things in the near future about that boy, spoke Tazuna, where everyone in the village quickly approved of the bridge's name. Zabuza and Haku of course both smiled at hearing this, as they both could not help but concur with what Tazuna said, as they were certain that they would be hearing great things about Naruto as well in the near future. After which the two of them, along with Ao and team, began their journey back to Kiri. Chapter 16, Reaction. After the events in Nami no Kuni, Wave Country, Naruto and his senseis as well as Team 7 returned to their village to report to the Hokage of their successful mission. Naturally, when the Hokage heard what had happened, he had been surprised, as he had not expected things to get so dangerous. But even still, he was pleased with how well Naruto and the members of Team 7 acquitted themselves on the mission. Upon hearing the full story, the Sandaime had decided to give each of the members of the two teams the payment of an A-rank mission, for doing so well on a dangerous mission, even though the mission was still classified a C-rank mission. Naturally, after hearing this, all the members of the two teams were pleased with the extra pay boost, where after they were dismissed by the Sandaime, they each went to celebrate their successful mission in their own way. Kakashi went off to read an Icha book somewhere quiet. Sasuke went off to train more in Sharingan. Sakura followed after Sasuke, asking him for a date to celebrate accomplishing their first real shinobi mission, where Sasuke naturally replied with a no each time the pink-haired girl asked. Naruto, Kushina and Yamato went to Ichiraku ramen stand to celebrate, although this time Yamato was going to make sure that he wasn't stuck with the bill this time. While Sai went off to give his report to his leader, Root's secret quarters, and that is what happened, Danzo-sama, said Sai as he knelt before the leader of the supposed disbanded Onbu division, Root aka the Foundation, Shimura Danzo. Interesting. It seems that the boy is progressing faster than I anticipated, as I did not expect him to master Kushina's Kenjutsu style to that point so soon quickly, and his strength is clearly growing with how easily he destroyed the bridge. But even still, the boy lets his emotions control him, where he attacked Kakashi to save Zabuza's partner Haku, spoke Danzo, where he frowned at the last part, as he knew that this was the result of Naruto being raised on the teachings of Sarutobi from his mother Tsunade. For the next few minutes, there was just silence in the room, where Danzo thought over everything that he had heard from Sai. Soon after, though, Sai then spoke up, breaking Danzo's from his train of thought. Will you then be approaching Senju then, Danzo-sama? No, not yet, replied Danzo as he looked at his subordinate, as I want you to keep monitoring his progress right now and see how he develops, as the Chunin exams are nearing and I'm interested in seeing how he handles himself in the exam, as well as seeing his abilities firsthand in quad. At this, Sai only nodded, where he then kept his head down and only raised it when Danzo spoke again. I also want you to keep monitoring Uchiha Sasuke now, since he has now awakened his Sharingan bloodline, and is now at a pivotal stage of his development, where he can either become a powerful ally to us or a major threat. Hi Danzo-sama, replied Sai, after which Danzo then dismissed him, where Sai quickly sunshined, body flickered, away, upon which Danzo then simply walked away and out of the room. A few days later, at Konoha's main gate, several days after the events in Nami no Kuni, Naruto was once again ready to do another mission, where much to his pleasure his sensei Yamato told him that they were now going on their own official C-rank mission. Although on this mission it would only be the two of them, since Kushina had been called up by the Hokage to do a high-rank mission for him, where she would not for some time. Naruto was of course a little down with this news, but understood, as Kushina was only assigned as an assistant sensei, where she would be only with Naruto and Yamato part-time, as Yamato was his official sensei on paper, along with his godfather Jiraiya and his mother. Naruto of course did not have to wait long for Yamato, as unlike Kakashi, Yamato was extremely punctual. Hey Yamato-sensei, greeted Naruto when he saw his fellow Makuten user and sensei, who nodded in greeting when he came up to Naruto. So Yamato-sensei, what's our mission going to be? Our mission is to find a missing person, a man called Jinami from the nearby village of Iao, who disappeared in the hills, spoke Yamato, where he then took out a photo of the man from one of the pockets of his flank jacket and showed it to Naruto. When Naruto took the photo, he saw the man, where the photo showed him holding a young boy, who clearly was his son. So he lost then? Asked Naruto, as he handed back the photo to his sensei. Not exactly, what do you mean? According to reports we've received, there is supposed to be a large group of bandits around the area, hence why we believe that he might have been abducted by them, explained Yamato. Naruto of course nodded in understanding, where the two of them then headed off to where the man named Jinami was last seen. After several hours of travel, Naruto and Yamato soon arrived at the large forestry, where Jinami was reported to have been last seen. Once they traveled for a bit and entered a small clearing, Yamato told Naruto to stay where he was, while he scouted around for any sign of the bandits that were supposed to be in the area. Naruto was of course not pleased to hear this, but reluctantly nodded, as he didn't want to get in any more trouble than he did at Nami no Kuni. With Yamato, as Yamato jumped through the trees at shinobi speed, he kept his senses alert, as when he first entered the forest he had sensed that there was something amiss, hence why he had gone ahead and told Naruto to stay in the clearing. Soon enough though, he suddenly heard a man's voice crying for help, along with a dog barking, where after hearing this, he quickly hid in the treetops and waited to see what was going on. Yamato of course did not have to wait long, as within moments of him hearing the man cries and the dogs barking, he saw the man who was crying for help, where he was being chased by a large black dog. The dog in question quickly caught up to the man, where it jumped on top of him and bit his arm, after which Yamato was then able to get a look of the man's face and saw that it was Jinami, the man that he and Naruto had been sent to find. Seeing that he had found his target, Yamato quickly threw a flash bang to the ground and told the man to hold his breath and close his eyes, where when he did, there was a small explosion causing a loud noise and lots of smoke, which quickly scared the dog away. Once the dog had ran off, Yamato immediately jumped down to Jinami, who quickly thanked Yamato for saving him and asked him how he knew him. When Yamato said his name, Yamato of course quickly explained that he had been sent by Konoha to find him, upon which he then asked Jinami what had happened to him. Sadly though, Jinami could not tell Yamato, as he explained that he could not remember what happened to him for some unknown reason. Natural. After hearing this, Yamato frowned, as this confirmed what his senses were telling him, that there was something going on here. After hearing Jinami's unknown case of amnesia, Yamato quickly decided to get out of here as quickly as he could, where he went to help Jinami up off from the ground. Unfortunately though, as soon as he touched Jinami's hand, a large seal suddenly appeared on the ground underneath both him and Jinami, where they were enveloped in a world of darkness. With Naruto for the past few minutes, Naruto stood in the small clearly, waiting for his sensei to return. Soon enough though, he suddenly sensed something happening not far away and at the same time saw a large flock of birds suddenly flying away in fear, a distance away from his position, confirming that something was happening. But just as Naruto saw this, his shinobi senses kicked in again, telling him to move, which was of course a good thing, for as soon as he jumped away, something came crashing to the ground hard, causing a large amount of dust to rise up and fill the clearing. When Naruto landed back on the ground next to a large tree, he narrowed his eyes as he could just about see 3 figures standing in the dust-filled clearing. "Show yourself," stated Naruto as he started at the 3 figures. When the dust settled, he saw 2 young men and a young woman standing in the clearly. The one in the middle, who Naruto guessed was the leader of the group, was a young man, who had 2 markings under his eyes. The man in question wore a gray shark-like top complete with a hood which resembled a shark's head, with an appendage on the back that resembled a dorsal fin, and dark pants. The other 2 that flanked the man, each wore masks similar to the one that Kakashi would wear, where the masks would cover the lower part of their faces, and each wore shinobi-like outfits. After the smoke had cleared, the man with the shark-like top suddenly spoke. "You're Senju Naruto, son of Tsunade of the Sannin, aren't you?" "And what if I am?" asked Naruto with a neutral look, as he guessed that the rumors about him were already spreading outside Konoha. "Well, we've been hearing rumors about you and we're wondering if you'd like to play with us," spoke the leader in a confident smile, after which he and his 2 comrades charged straight at Naruto at great speed. The leader of the group quickly struck first, where he jumped up into the air and came down at Naruto with his fist raised to hit him. Seeing this, Naruto quickly jumped away, where as he did, he saw that the leader had some impressive strength, as when he missed Naruto, his fist hit the ground and embedded itself into the ground. Seeing an opening, Naruto went to take out some shurikens so to throw them at the leader, but before he could, the other male member of the enemy team appeared in front of Naruto and tried to hit him with a right hook. Naruto of course easily dodged the fist, where he began to fight the masked man in a fierce taijutsu battle in the treetops, jumping from one tree to another as they fought each other. Naruto of course used his own personal taijutsu style, where after avoiding another one of the masked man's fists, Naruto jumped up into the air and delivered a powerful spinning back kick to the side of the man's head, while crying out "Uzu Hondo," whirling kick. And quat. When Naruto made contact with the man's head, the masked man was sent flying into a nearby tree trunk with great force and made a large dent in the tree trunk, which was impressive in itself, as Naruto had not used his superhuman strength. After dealing with the masked man for the moment, Naruto then quickly took out a set of kunis and threw them at the masked kunoichi nearby, who was on a large tree branch and was about to strike him from the side. The masked kunoichi of course quickly deflected the kunais with a pair of kusarigama that she carried on her back, after which she then charged straight at Naruto. Seeing her coming at him, Naruto then quickly took out his katana from his back, where he then spent the next few minutes clashing blades with her, and began a fierce battle with her in the treetops. After avoiding a slashing move from one of the masked kunoichi's kusarigama, Naruto then quickly raised his katana to block the other one, which was aimed to cut his head in 2. After blocking the attack, Naruto then quickly pushed the kunoichi back and into the air, although as soon as he did this, Naruto barely dodged another attack from behind, by the group's leader, who wore the shark-like top and the masked male shinobi. Seeing that he wasn't in the ideal situation, where he was surrounded and outnumbered, he quickly threw a large smoke bomb that covered the clearing. Knowing what Naruto was planning to do, the group waited outside the smoke-filled clearing and waited for Naruto to come out, but what they didn't expect was for several Narutos to jump out of the smoke and run in different directions. Seeing all the different Narutos, the shark hood-wearing leader quickly turned to his teammates, quickly take them all out. One of them is to be the real one. "We can't let him get away as we've our orders," and quat. The 2 masked shinobi of course quickly nodded, and went after some of the Naruto clones. As Naruto traveled through the woods, trying to keep his distance from the group, Naruto could not help but wonder who these guys were, as they were clearly not your run-of-the-mill bandits. He also could not help but wonder what had happened to his sensei, as he knew that something must have happened to him, for him not to be here to help him, and guessed that the group got to him somehow. Knowing that he wouldn't get any answers by just running away, Naruto decided to go on the offensive, where he then quickly used his Chakura no Purusu, Chakra Pulse, to locate the position of his enemies. After using his Chakura no Purusu, Naruto learned that the group had split up, which of course worked for him, where the leader had gone after one set of clones in one direction, whereas his two masked teammates had gone off in another direction after another sent clones. Deciding that he would take out the masked woman and man first, Naruto quickly ran towards their direction. With Yamato currently standing in the middle of Black Void, with the only light coming from the seal that he was standing on, Yamato had several thoughts running through his mind, on different ways on how to escape the seal he was trapped in. For the past few minutes, Yamato had tried breaking the seal with different, Doden, Earth style, Suten, Water style, and Mukaden, would release, jutsus, but all of them had failed to break the seal, revealing that it would take much more than ordinary level jutsus to break him and Jinami out. As he thought on ways to free himself, Yamato looked at Jinami, who was lying in the center of the seal, unconscious. It had not taken long for Yamato to realize that Jinami had been used as a trap, where someone had placed a powerful seal on his body, so that the moment he touched Jinami, it activated and he became trapped within the seal. It was then that Yamato came to realize that the only way that he would break out of the seal was to help Jinami first. As Yamato worked on freeing Jinami from the seal, Yamato began to wonder who was responsible for placing such a powerful seal on Jinami in the first place, as well as wonder why said person was holding him in this seal. As the masked man and woman took out the last of Naruto's clones, the masked man quickly turned to his female partner and spoke in an annoyed tone. "TSK. Another clone. Why the hell is our lord so interested in this brat? Sure, he's the son of the Konoha no name Kuji Tsunade Heim, Konoha slug princess Tsunade, but still it doesn't explain the lengths he's having us going at for him. Our lord's reasoning is not for us to know. We've our orders and we must follow them," spoke the masked Kunoichi, although as soon as she said this, the two of them quickly jumped off the branch they were standing on to avoid several shurikens that were thrown at them from a nearby tree. After avoiding the shurikens and landing on another large tree branch, the two masked shinobis looked in the direction from where the shurikens came from, where they then saw Naruto spring out from the tree with his katana in hand. "Another clone?" asked the masked man. "No, I believe this is the real one," replied the masked Kunoichi. "Good, now we can finish this," said the masked man, after which he and the masked female jumped straight at Naruto with great speed. Seeing them coming at him, Naruto waited till the last moment, where just as they were right on top of him, he then quickly spun up into the air and delivered a powerful roundhouse kick and set the two masked shinobi flying into different directions and crashing into two different trees. Sadly though, the two masked shinobis recovered quickly from Naruto's hit, where they then used some kind of vanishing technique to make themselves invisible and hid in the trees. "Shit," thought Naruto, as he cursed himself for going easy on them, as he thought he could knock them out with that kick, without having to use his enhanced strength. As Naruto looked around his surroundings for any signs of the two masked shinobis, he found he could find none, as they had hid themselves well. Knowing of only one way to find them, Naruto quickly used his Chakura no Purusu, where upon locating them, Naruto then channeled his wind chakra to his kanata and swung it, where he cried out Sarashu Fu, wind slash. And quat. Upon doing so, a power crescent-shaped blade of wind exploded from Naruto's katana and flew straight at the masked shinobi's location. Surprised at how Naruto found them so quickly, the two masked shinobis barely avoided the wind attack, where the crescent blade of wind cut right through the tree they were hiding in, where the top portion of it fell to the ground. "Shit, how the hell did that brat find us?" spoke the masked man angrily. "I don't know," replied the masked Kunoichi, as she eyed the top part of the tree that Naruto's attack cut through with worry, as she had never seen a technique like that before, and given how easily it cut through the tree, it was extremely deadly. Wanting to finish this battle quickly, the masked man then quickly took out the large Fuma shuriken that he carried on his back, while the masked woman took out her kusaragamas again. Not wanting to deal with these guys any longer than he needed to, Naruto quickly became serious, where he quickly avoided the masked man's Fuma shuriken when he threw it, after which Naruto then created a clone and had the clone attack the masked man, while he dealt with the masked Kunoichi. Upon engaging the masked Kunoichi, Naruto was forced on the defensive for a moment or two, as the woman swung her kusaragamas from different angles, preventing him from counterattacking. Fortunately though, Naruto was able to create an opening, where he tripped the woman with his foot, causing her to lose her balance, thereby giving the opening Naruto needed. Upon which he then used his Hien no Jutsu, flying swallow technique, and channeled his wind chakra to his katana, allowing him to cut right through the masked Kunoichi's kusaragamas, making them worthless. After which Naruto then used his enhanced strength and kicked the Kunoichi right stomach and sent her flying to nearby tree, where she then hit a large thick stub branch that was directly behind her and was run right through it. Due to the force of Naruto's kick, where she died instantly, as the stub branch could be seen coming out of her chest. When Naruto saw what happened, he was of course frozen with shock, as he had only intended to knock her out, not kill her. At the same time, when Naruto realized what he had done, the masked male shinobi took out Naruto's Kage Bunshin shadow clone, where after doing this, he saw that his partner had been killed. Angered by the death of his female partner, the masked male shinobi charged straight at Naruto from behind with a kunai, where he roared out Ikfile Yayo Uu. Reacting to the man's roars of rage, Naruto quickly spun around and avoided the masked man's kunai. Just as he was about to stab him, and out of pure instinct, he rammed his katana right through the masked man's chest, killing him. It was only in that instant, after stabbing the man, that Naruto realized what he had done, as he'd moved in pure instinct and had not thought on what he was doing. As Naruto looked into the dying man's eyes, he saw the same look of surprise, anger and fear that he saw in the Ame Nin that he killed back in Oni no Kuni, Demon Country, when he was defending Shien. After a moment or two, Naruto regained himself, where he then pulled his katana out of the man's chest, where the masked man then fell down from the tree branch that he and Naruto were on and onto the ground. Once the masked man hit the ground, Naruto could not help but stare down at him, where at that moment he felt like he was going to be sick. As he had been trained to help save people's lives, and although he knew that killing was part of being a shinobi, it didn't mean he had to like it. Soon after though, Naruto came to grips with himself and washed the blood off his katana and placed it back in the sheath on his back, after which he then used his Chakura no Purusu to find the leader of the group, who was not far away, thankfully. As the leader of the group headed towards where his teammates had went, as he ran through the treetops, he suddenly heard a male voice cry out Sarashufu. Where then next thing he knew, his right arm had been severed off by a fast-moving blade of wind. But just when Naruto thought he had dealt with the shark-like hood-wearing man, the man quickly reverted into water, where Naruto quickly realized that he had replaced himself with a Mizu no Bunshin water clone. After realizing this, Naruto suddenly saw several kunai flying towards him at high side from his right-hand side. Reacting quickly, Naruto immediately deflected the kunais with his katana. Pretty impressive, and I'm guessing since you are here and I cannot sense my comrades anywhere nearby, that they are dead, spoke the man, without a trace of remorse at his comrades being dead. Naruto of course did not reply to the man's statement, as it needed none, but there was one thing he wanted. Who are you and why are you after me? As I highly doubt that this is just for fun for you. My name is Kajika. As for why I'm after you, the simple thing is that I wish to be useful to someone I greatly admire and respect. And quote, replied Kajika, causing Naruto to raise his eyebrow in curiosity. What do you mean? It's simple. My master has heard about your existence and ordered my comrades and I to fight you and find out what kind of strength that you possess, and see if you are worthy of all the excitement that is beginning to spread about you, your master? Asked Naruto, wondering who Kajika master was. Yes, the wonderful one, spoke Kajika, after which he then took out another kunai and charged straight at Naruto, who quickly brought up his katana to defend himself, where the two of them fought in a fierce close-quarter fight. After a minute or two of fierce fighting, Naruto quickly used his Kage Bunshin to attack Kajika from multiple directions all at once. Sadly though, Kajika proved himself to be a skilled and dangerous shinobi by easily dispelling the clones, with simple taijutsu in the space of only a few seconds. With his clone gone, Naruto then re-engaged Kajika, where they once again met in close-quarter fighting, where they found that they were both equal in speed. As the fight progressed, Naruto quickly did several one-handed hand seals, which surprised Kajika, and then cried out Suten, Teppodama, water style, gunshot. Where several large blasts of water burst out of his mouth flew towards Kajika at high speed. Seeing them coming, Kajika quickly avoided them by using the trees as cover, after which then raced to a large pond that was not too far away from where he and Naruto were fighting. After jumping onto the surface of the pond, Kajika quickly did several high-speed hand seals and cried out Suten, Suryudan no Jutsu, water style, water dragon bullet technique. Upon seeing the massive water dragon heading towards him, when he landed on the surface of the water, Naruto quickly dipped his katana into the water underneath him and cried out Mizu no Jashu, rising water. Where he swung his kanata upward, creating several waves of water around him and acting like a wall of water. When the water dragon collided with the wall of water that was around Naruto, the wall of water protected Naruto from the majority of the blast, but was fairly drenched when the attack ended and had dropped his katana into the water from the force of the collision. You defended yourself from my attack pretty well there, although it seems that you lost your katana when my attack hit, said Kajika, as he walked towards Naruto. Well, if you think that you've won this battle then you're dead wrong, said Naruto, where he then did a single hand seal and cried out Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Where he created several dozen shadow clones where they then charged at him in a mass wave. Unafraid by the small army of Naruto's charging at him, Kajika used a quick water jutsu to destroy the clones in only a few seconds, but as he did and the smoke and water died down, he could not see Naruto anywhere. As he looked around his shinobi senses, suddenly though him to move, where just as he did, Naruto appeared out of the water from underneath him with his katana and slashed at Kajika, where he was able to make a large but shallow cut on his chest. Upon landing back on the water, Kajika narrowed his eyes at Naruto, who was in front of him. Damn him, he used the clones to distract me, so that he could go into the water and get his sword and attack me from underneath and quad. Using an unknown jutsu, Kajika quickly turned himself into water and attacked Naruto at high speed at multiple angles. Seeing this, Naruto quickly jumped out of the way, but just he was in mid-air, Kajika appeared behind him and stabbed him in the back with a kunai. But when he did this, Naruto reverted into water, revealing that he had replaced himself with a water clone. After seeing that the Naruto he hit was a water clone, Kajika quickly came under attack from behind, where Naruto threw several high-speed senbon needles at him. Barely avoiding the senbon needles, Kajika quickly tried to use the invisible technique that the two masked shinobis used against Naruto earlier, and planned to sneak up on Naruto from behind. Sadly though for Kajika, Naruto was able to use his Chakura no Purusu to find him, where he drew some water from the pond underneath him and coated his katana with it. After which he then trusted katana forward and charged straight at Kajika at high speed, all the while gathering more water around him, where he cried out Tashio Yogi, treading water. Shocked by Naruto being able to detect him, Kajika barely avoided Naruto's attack, but still received a slight cut on his side from Naruto's attack, as he avoided it. After avoiding Naruto's attack, Kajika saw an opening where after doing some quick hand seals, he cried out Suten, Kori Datsu no Jutsu, water style, ice darts technique, where he shot several large darts of ice from his mouth. Seeing the ice darts coming at him, Naruto barely avoided the attack, by jumping over to the shoreline of the pond, but even though he avoided the attack, he still received a slight gash on his side, as he avoided the ice darts, and although the gash wasn't serious it was bleeding pretty badly. Seeing that Naruto was hurt, Kajika smirked, "Look like that a nasty little injury, and if you don't treat it soon you bleed to death, but you need to worry about that, as I going to kill you here and now for all the trouble you caused me," and quad. But just as Kajika was about to attack Naruto, he suddenly froze. What the? Thought Kajika, as he couldn't understand what was happening, as his body wouldn't move. It was then when he looked towards Naruto, he saw him holding a one-handed hand seal and smirking. "What the hell is going on?" cried Kajika angrily. "Simple, really, you're in the middle of a Kekai Ko Tifun, 4-corner immobilization seal, which I've just activated," replied Naruto with a smirk, where he then did some hand seals and used his Shozen Jutsu, mystical palm technique, to heal his wounds. "But how could you?" cried Kajika in fury, as he would have seen Naruto placing seals around the pound. "It's simple, did you really think that when I went underwater, I went to just get my sword?" explained Naruto, where Kajika's eyes widened in realization. "While I was underwater I also placed certain seals around the 4 edges of the pond and then activated them once I was out of the water and while you were still at in and quad." When Kajika heard this he could not believe that he had been tricked so easily. "Damn you," roared Kajika in anger as he struggled in vain to resist the paralyzing effects of the Kekai Ko Tifun. As Kajika continued to struggle he suddenly heard a maniacal laughter from inside his mind, where a familiar voice spoke. "Well, it seems that your life did prove useful after all, Kajika. Good work," spoke the voice, after which for some unknown reason Kajika felt intense pain in his body and spate up blood, causing Naruto to look up at him in concern. But before he could do anything, Kajika suddenly spoke, but yet it wasn't his voice, it was a completely different one. "It seems that your mother has trained you well, Naruto-kun, as you're quite impressive. Thank you for showing me a very entertaining show and quad." At hearing this Naruto's eyes widened in surprise, but as surprised as he was shocked when he saw Kajika body contort and move around with sickening cracks, before Kajika finally made eye contact with him. When Naruto looked at Kajika's eyes, he saw that they weren't his eyes anymore, as they were now yellow and narrow, where they didn't even look human anymore. At the same time, Naruto sensed a foul, dark chakra coming from Kajika that clearly did not belong to him. As Naruto stared at Kajika with confusion, he suddenly heard a dark chuckle coming from Kajika, after which much to Naruto's disbelief, Kajika began to move, despite being in the Kekai Ko Tifun, although the way he was walking made him look like he was some kind of puppet. "Who the hell are you? I know you're not Kajika, and how the hell do you know my mother and me? What the hell do you want?" asked Naruto, when Kajika was directly in front of Hai, where he ready himself, as he was unsure what this person would do in Kajika's body, now that he was controlling it. "I commend you on defeating a strong opponent like Kajika, Naruto-kun, especially with so little injury to yourself. You are indeed worthy of my interest. I look forward to when we finally met face to face," spoke the person controlling Kajika. "Who the hell are you?" demanded Naruto as he pointed his katana at Kajika. At this the unknown person just chuckled. You need not worry, Naruto-kun, we'll meet again very soon I promise. After which Kajika's body fell to the ground. Naruto was of course about to go over to him, but before he even touching Kajika's body, Naruto suddenly heard Yamato's voice cry out to him. Naruto move away from him quickly. Listening to his sensei, Naruto quickly jumped away, which was a good thing, for as soon as he did, Kajika's body exploded. Sorry I'm late, Naruto, are you alright asked Yamato as he looked at his student, who looked pretty roughed up. Yeah I'm fine what exactly happened there with that shinobi and you? To be honest sensei, I'm not exactly sure replied Naruto, although that person that was controlling Kajika there, was the one who sent him and was seemingly using him and his comrades to test me for some sick reason. So the mastermind of this whole affair was after Naruto, just as I feared. It seems that the groups going after Naruto are already making their move. I will have to inform the Hokage of this, as we need to find out who is behind this thought Yamato. As Naruto and Yamato walked away, back to where Yamato had left Jinami, a small white serpent exited out of the dead Kajika's mouth. Not far away in a hidden section of the forest currently sitting in a mediation position against a large tree was a pale white-skinned man with long black hair, who was being guarded by a silver-haired youth with glasses. The pale white-skinned man was of course none other than Orochimaru, the famed snake Sannin of Konoha and former member of the Densetsu no Sannin, legendary 3 ninjas. The man guarding him was of course Orochimaru's right-hand man and top spy Yakashi Kabuto. As Kabuto guarded his master, he immediately noticed the small serpent slithering along the ground, up his master's body and into his right ear. Once the snake entered his ear, Orochimaru suddenly awoke. Ah, you're awake Orochimaru-sama spoke Kabuto as he turned to face his master. So tell me, how was Senju Naruto? He has proven himself well, as he is already extremely strong, although he may need some convincing to be turned replied the snake Sannin. You could have abducted him there said Kabuto. No, he must come to me willingly, like Uchiha Sasuke or else it is all meaningless, spoke Orochimaru. I see. Then can I stay on schedule then? Asked Kabuto. Yes, as I must test him further, as I can tell I've only seen the tip of what that boy is capable of, not to mention I must test young Uchiha Sasuke as well, to see if he is worthy candidate and quat. Kabuto of course nodded, where the two of them then walked together out of the forest. 1 month later Kirigakure currently walking through the streets of Kirigakure, Hidden Mist, was former A-rank missing nin, Momochi Zabuza better known as the Kirigakure no Kijin, demon of the Hidden Mist. For the past month and a half since the Inshuden in Nami no Kuni, things had been fairly quiet yet interesting for the former Nuke Nin. Upon returning to Kiri, the Mizukage had immediately reinstated Zabuza as a member of the Kiri no Shinobi Gatana Shichinin Shu, the 7 Shinobi swordsman of the mist, and as a Jonin. But what Zabuza didn't expect, was the Mizukage making him a Jonin sensei as well and then making take on a Jonin team. Naturally Zabuza refused to become a Jonin sensei stating that Haku was his one and only student, but he later caved under the pressure of the Mizukage, where he took on a Jonin team. The team itself was made up of Haku, which Zabuza stated was non-negotiable with him, a young boy named Chojuro, who was a possible candidate as a new member of the Kiri no Shinobi Gatana Shichinin Shu, who the Mizukage wanted Zabuza to train. While the final member of the team, was another young boy named Saito, who showed some skill as a strong Suiten user. Soon enough Zabuza arrived at his destination, which was the Mizukage's office in the Mizukage mansion, which stood in the center of the village itself. Upon entering the office, Zabuza saw the godime Mizukage Terumi Mei sitting behind her desk, finishing off some documents. Mei was a slender young and attractive woman in her early 20s. 1. She had ankle-length, auburn hair styled into a herringbone pattern at the back, a top knot tied with a dark blue band, and with 4 bangs at the front, one of which covered her right eye, which were both light green. She dressed in a long-sleeved dark blue dress that fell just below the knees and was closed up at the front with a zip which was kept open on the front right side from the waist down. The dress only covered up to the upper part of her upper arms and the underside of her breasts. Underneath, she wore a mesh shirt that covers more of her upper body than her dress, but stopped short of covering her shoulders, leaving a glance at her sizable cleavage, which often caught the attention of many young and older men, where many stated that they rivaled Tsunade's cleavage size. She also wore shorts in the same color as her dress underneath her mesh leggings, which reached down over her knees. Also around her waist, she wore a belt with a pouch attached to the back on the left. Furthermore, she wore high-heeled sandals and shin guards reaching up over her knees. She also wore dark blue polish on her fingers and toes along with dark blue lipstick on her lips. Once the Mizukage had finished signing her documents, she looked up at Zabuza and smiled. Greetings Zabuza, thank you for coming. So what is it that you want godime-san? Asked Zabuza. To put it simply Zabuza, I want you to enter your team into the Chunin exam. What? But I only had the 3 of them for less than a month, spoke Zabuza in surprise. Although that is true, they're the best Junon team that we have in the village and we need the best for this year's exams. As ever since the news of the Yondaime Mizukage's death was released, many nations and important clients are beginning to doubt our village's strength. This is why we need your team to enter the Chunin exam, so to show the world that our village is still strong. And even then that is only part of the reason why we're sending in your team, spoke the female cage. I'm guessing that you're referring to Senju, Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, spoke Zabuza, as it was obvious what the Mizukage was thinking. You're correct. As you can guess, news is spreading of Tsunade-sama having a son, and there being a new heir to the Senju clan, who is now a shinobi of Konoha. Also combine the fact that the survivor of the Uchiha massacre, Uchiha Sasuke, is now a shinobi. Konoha will no doubt enter both boys into the exam, as it is being held there this year, and they certainly use the boys' fame to increase their standing and attract more clients, said the god Ime Mizukage, and then continued. Since both you and Haku have fought the 2 of them, you both know what they are capable of, where Haku can stand up to either of them. I've also been reading your reports on Chojuro and his training, and according to your reports, he is learning to use Haramkare very quickly. Yea, the kid is learning to use Haramkare quite quickly, but neither he nor Saito are ready to take on either the Uchiha or Senju kids, and although Haku could beat the Uchiha, I'm not certain she could beat the Senju kid, as he has proven he can beat her, and given the abilities he showed at Nami no Kuni, she would have to become a lot stronger in a short time. Yes, I read your report on your battle in Nami no Kuni, where according to it, you state that he is skilled in medical ninjutsu and water ninjutsu and can use Tsunade-sama's superhuman strength to an impressive degree. You also state in it, that he can use the unique kenjutsu style of Konoha's Barati Shinku no Ikari, Bloody Crimson Fury, Uzumaki Cushion to an impressive degree as well, spoke Mei, where Zabuza just nodded again. But even with this, said the Mizukage, your team is the best chance we have, where even if Haku can only beat the Uchiha boy in the exam, it would still help rise our village's prestige. Fine then, so when do we leave? Asked Zabuza. You and your team will leave in 2 weeks' time, replied Mei, where Zabuza just nodded and left, where as he walked out the office, he thought about how he would have to increase his team's training a lot for the upcoming exam. At the same time he also thought about how Haku would react to the news, as he knew that she would be happy to see Naruto again, but would not be pleased of the prospect of having to fight him again. But at least this time, they would not have to fight to the death. In Iwagakure, currently sitting behind his desk, the Sandaime Tsuchikage Aniki, better well known as Ryodanbin no Aniki, Aniki of both scales, read a report he had received from his intelligence division. As he read the report, a large frown appeared, where once he finished reading it he placed the report back on his desk and pinched his nose in frustration at what he had read, after which he then rubbed his lower back, as it acted up whenever he was stressed out with something. But just when the old cage thought that he could not become any more stressed out than he was, he quickly realized he was wrong when he saw his 16-year-old granddaughter Kurotsuchi enter his office. Kurotsuchi was a medium-height young girl with short, black hair and pupil-less pink eyes. She wore a long, red kimono with a sleeve on her right arm, but missing on her left, while the opposite with her legs, where her kimono was short of the right side and long on the left side. She also wore a brown Iwagakure flak jacket, with fishnet tights and shorts over them. Hey Gigi, how's it hanging? Spoke the young girl as she entered the room. At seeing his granddaughter, the Sandaime Tsuchikage could only sigh as he felt his headache grow. Not now, Kurotsuchi, as I'm not in the mood to deal with you, grumbled Aniki. Seeing that something was bothering her grandfather, Kurotsuchi decided to press the matter. Come Gigi, I know something bothering you. You're more grumpy than you normally are, spoke the young girl. Sighing again, knowing that his granddaughter would keep pestering him until he told her, the Sandaime Tsuchikage decided to speak. Several weeks ago, our intelligence division informed me of an odd rumor that has recently been spreading among several nations. What sort of rumor? Asked the young Iwa girl. The rumor involves Tsunade of the Sanin, where it states that 12 years ago she had a child, a son to be more precise, explained Aniki, shocking his granddaughter. No way, that old hag actually had a kid. It's got to be some kind of trick that Konoha is using to make themselves seem stronger. There would be no point as using such a ruse if it was not true. Besides, our intelligence has confirmed that the rumor is indeed true, replied the Sandaime Tsuchikage. So who the hell is the father? Her teammate Jiraiya the Toad Sage? Asked Kurotsuchi. We don't know, although I highly doubt that brat Jiraiya is the boy's father, replied Aniki with a scoff. So what is the brat name? His name is Senju Naruto, replied the old cage, where he then showed his granddaughter a picture of Naruto that one of his agents got of him. Humph, he doesn't look like much, replied Kurotsuchi unimpressed, as she looked at the photo of Naruto. Don't forget what I taught you about appearances being deceptive, Kurotsuchi, as that brat Jiraiya often appears as a perverted idiot. Yet even I'll admit that he is a dangerous man. Besides, from what our intelligence tells me, the boy is a highly gifted shinobi, which I am willing to believe given his pedigree. Not to mention, the rumor states the boy is being trained by not only his mother but by her teammate Jiraiya as well. Upon hearing this, Kurotsuchi raised her eyebrow, before nodding in understanding, as if the rumor about Naruto was true, in him being trained by the two members of the Sannin. Then there was no doubt to her, that Naruto would be a powerful shinobi and dangerous enemy in the near future. So what do we do then? She asked. I want you to go to Konoha, as in 2 weeks' time the Chunin exam will be hosted in Konoha, and I've no doubt that Konoha will use it as an opportunity to show of not only the Senju boy, but also the young Uchiha survivor of the Uchiha massacre, as both boys are rumored to be prodigies and having the last sole heirs of the two clans that founded their village, will bring countless clients and highly ranked officials to Konoha, who will no doubt spend large amounts of money on betting and will increase Konoha's status and mission requests, said the old Tsuchikage. But I can't be in the Chunin exam, as I'm already a Chunin, spoke Kurotsuchi. Your mission will not be to compete in the exam, but to observe and gather intelligence on both the Uchiha and the Senju heir, along with any other young Genin that may stand out in the exam. You'll leave the following month, when the second round of the Chunin exam begins, as that is when Konoha will be letting clients and other people into the village to watch the finals of the exam. But what if neither of them makes it to the second round? Asked Kurotsuchi. That will not happen, as Konoha would not allow either of them to fail before the second round, as they would not let the publicity of having the last heirs of two strongest shinobi clans that ever lived, fighting it out in their village go by, as people would come all around just to see it, replied Aniki. Upon hearing this, Kurotsuchi just nodded in understanding, as what her grandfather said did make sense, after which he then dismissed her, where he then left the office. Once Kurotsuchi left the office, that Tsuchikage quickly spun his chair around to look out the window of his office, which allowed him to look down at his village. As he did this, Old Cage could not help but wonder what the next few weeks would be like. In Amigakure, currently walking through the halls of a large building in the village of Amigakure, Hidden Rain, was tall hooded figure. As the figure walked through the halls, the person was accompanied by two Jonin Ame shinobis, where after a few minutes they came to a large double door, which was guarded by two more Ame shinobis. After being thoroughly searched by the two guards at the door, the men then let the cloaked figure enter the room. Upon entering the room, the figure saw four more Ame shinobis standing guard at each corner of the room, watching the figure closely. Directly in front of the cloaked figure were three more men, two of which were guarding the person in between them. Said person was none other than the leader of Amigakure, the legendary shinobi, Sanshao no Hanzo, Hanzo the Salamander, whose fame and reputation was known and revered by all throughout the shinobi world, to a point where the mere sight of him on the battlefield would make many men flee in fear. Hanzo was practically well known for battling all three members of the Sannin single-handedly in their youth, and for defeating them, but spared their lives and gave them their title, as a sign of respect for their skill and teamwork. After entering the room, the cloaked figure walked towards the revered Ame leader and bowed to him, before kneeling down onto the ground. You summoned me, spoke the cloaked figure. Yes, I did, spoke Hanzo, as I have an important mission for you. A mission? Yes, one that you are uniquely qualified for you're one of our best shinobis in the village, but due to the special training that you've gone through the past few years, you've yet to be given an official rank and quad. At this the figure only nodded, as what Hanzo said was indeed true. And what rank? I'm going to be given for this mission. You'll be given the rank of Genin, replied Hanzo, causing the cloaked figure to look up at Hanzo as surprise. A Genin? With all due respect, I believe that would be a waste of my skills, stated the cloaked figure, but stopped speaking when Hanzo raised his hand. There is a reason as to why I am giving you the rank of Genin. And may I ask what that reason is? Asked the cloaked figure. The reason you're being made a Genin is because I wish for you enter this year's Chunin exam, which is being in Konoha, spoke Hanzo. Surely that is not the only reason? Asked the cloaked figure. No, the Chunin exam is simply an excuse to allow you to enter Konoha without raising suspicion. The main objective of your mission is to monitor a young Genin that'll no doubt be entering the exam this year and evaluate him to see if he is a threat. What is the target's name? Asked the cloaked figure. The target's name is Senju, Naruto, answered Hanzo, causing the cloaked figure to once again look up at the Ame leader in surprise. Senju? But I thought the Senju clan had just about died out? That is no longer the case, as for the past few weeks, rumors have been spreading throughout the elemental continent about a new Senju heir arriving in Konoha, and our intelligence has recently confirmed the story, as well as how Tsunade of the Sannin is the boy's mother, explained Hanzo, further surprising the cloaked figure. The boy is the son of Tsunade of the Sannin, repeated the cloaked figure in surprise, where Hanzo just nodded in confirmation. But how is that possible? I thought she was past the age of bearing any children? Seemingly she gave birth to her son about 12 years ago and then went into hiding, as she raised him, which explains why no one has seen or heard her in the past 12 years in Quat. At this the cloaked figure just nodded, as it did make sense and should if I find that he is a threat. Then you're to eliminate him in the exam, for although killing in the exam is frowned upon, it is not illegal, hence Konoha cannot retaliate against us for killing him, spoke Hanzo. Nodding again and understanding the cloaked figure, then spoke up, if I am to enter the Chunin exam, I'll require to be on a team to compete in it. That has already been arranged, as recently there has been a team that lost not only its Jonin sensei, but also a young Jinan, which has created a vacancy for you to join it. But who will be replacing the Jonin sensei? Kondachi here will be acting as the Jonin sensei, as well as helping you on your mission in monitoring the young Senju heir, spoke Hanzo, where he indicated to his most trusted subordinate, who was sitting next to him on his right, where the cloaked figure just nodded in understanding. So will you accept the mission? Asked Hanzo. Hi. Replied the figure. Good, then you and Kondachi will have 2 weeks to prepare, before leaving for Konoha, said Hanzo, where he then dismissed the cloaked figure. Pray that I do not find you a threat to my village, young Senju, for if I do, you'll not live to see the ending of this exam, thought the cloaked figure, after leaving the room. In Tsunade currently sitting in a small room in the Kazekage mansion, the Kazekage 3 children Kankuro, Tamarai and Gaara were awaiting their team sensei, who had called them together so to be briefed on an important mission that they would be taking. The 3 of them of course did not have to wait long, as the team sensei Baki soon entered the room, where the 3 of them quickly took a seat directly in front of him. Now then, as you 3 are both aware, for the past several years that Fool the Wind Daimyo has been reducing our village's funding bit by bit, thereby weakening our military strength, and if that was not enough, he is sending most of the missions that he would hire us for to Konoha, weakening us even further, said Baki with a frown before continuing. Because of this, the Kazekage has had to do certain things to improve the quality of our shinobi so to maintain our military strength, stated Baki, where he then glazed at Gaara before continuing. But even that has proven ineffective, as our village's strength is still weakening, which is why recently the Kazekage has agreed to a plan presented to him by the leader of the new shinobi village Otogakur, Hidden Sound. What is this plan, sensei? Asked Kankuro. The plan involves a joint attack by our village and the Otogakur on Kanahagakur, where we'll attack them during the second rounds of the Chunin exam, when their defensives are at their weakest. Once Konoha is destroyed, we'll have proven to the Wind Daimyos that we're the superior village, where he'll have no choice but to acknowledge our strength and have to increase our funding and return the missions he sends us. But what exactly is our involvement in this operation, senseis? Asked Tamari, the oldest and only girl in the team. Your mission is to enter the Chunin exam, where at the very least Gaara has to make it to the second round of the exam, after which when a signal is given he is to transform into his full state and attack Konoha from in the inside, along with a group of Auto shinobis that will infiltrate the village. At the same time this happens, our main force will attack Konoha from the outside with the help of the Auto forces, where together we'll catch the Konoha forces in complete confusion and destroy it in Quat. Upon hearing this, both Tamari and Kankuro nodded in understanding of the plan, while Gaara remained as emotionless as ever. But despite all the planning we've done, there has been a recent development that could ruin it all. What sort of development, sensei? Asked Kankuro. Recently our intelligence has reported to us a strange rumor. It has been slowly circulating and only a few days ago they've confirmed it, spoke Baki, causing both Tamari and Kankuro to have confused looks, while Gaara simply raised his eyebrow. What sort of rumor? Asked Tamari. According to the rumor, a new Jinan has appeared in Konoha, who will most likely be entering the Chunin exam this year. This Jinan's name is Senju, Naruto, sole heir to the Senju clan of Konoha and only child of Tsunade of the Sannin, answered Baki, shocking both Tamari and Kankuro. Even Gaara showed some signs of surprise at hearing this, where his eyes slightly widened, as they had all heard of the Senju clan, who were the main founders of Konoha and were considered the strongest shinobi clan in the world. Tsunade of the Sannin had a son? Asked Kankuro in disbelief, as he couldn't believe what he had just heard, where his sensei just nodded in confirmation. But how is that possible? She would have to be in her early 50s by now, stated Tamari, as like her brother she found the information hard to accept. According to our information, it seems that at some point 12 years ago Tsunade gave birth to her son Naruto, after which she then went into hiding. She most likely did this to prevent any of her or Konoha's enemies learning of her son, where they would come after him, explained Baki. At this the 2 elder siblings nodded, as it did make sense, especially since they were only hearing of this now. But even after hearing this, there was still something nagging at Kankuro that he wanted to know. Sorry sensei, but why exactly are you so worried about this guy anyway? Sure, he's the heir of the strongest shinobi clan in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be some mega powerful shinobi one day, and even then he's only a kid now and can't be much of a threat. Normally I would agree with you on such a case, Kankuro, but when it comes to the Senju clan, we cannot take any chances, as they have a reputation of having some of the strongest shinobis in the world. This is a fact given how the Shodaime Hokage, the Nidaime Hokage and Tsunade of the Sannin all come from that clan, and each of them were among the best in their fields and among the strongest of their times. Hence why you should be wary of that boy, as I've no doubt that his mother has trained him in the shinobi arts, which will of course make him a dangerous adversary to face, said Baki. At this both Kankuro and Temari shared a slightly worried glance, as they were both familiar with Tsunade's infamous reputation when on the battlefield, and both agreed that if Tsunade had indeed trained Naruto, then he would be a dangerous enemy to face. Gaara on the other hand actually looked excited at the prospect of facing against someone who has been trained by one of the legendary Sannin. As he thought about it, a cold murderous smirk appeared on his face, which naturally got his siblings and sensei slightly worried. Well, if this guy's presence such a threat to the mission, should we not take him out in the Chunin exam? Asked Kankuro. Only if the opportunity presents itself, and only if you can be certain that it cannot be linked back to you, as if you killed a boy during the exam and Konoha finds out you were involved. It would attract unwanted attention on us, where Konoha would be watching us more carefully, which could then jeopardize the operation. Not to mention as well, if you did kill the boy, we would then have to deal with his mother, as I'm certain she would be there to watch her son compete in the Chunin exam. This is another reason why we're so concerned with the boy's existence, as Tsunade's presence in Konoha alone could jeopardize the invasion, and if you killed her son, regardless of the rules of the exam, she would come after us in revenge, and I doubt even all of Konoha could stop her, stated Baki. At this both Temari and Kankuo gulped slightly at the idea of facing a vengeful Tsunade, as quite frankly they had heard enough about her to know that neither of them would want to get on her bedside. For the next few minutes the room remained quiet as both Temari and Kankuro thought over their mission, while Gaara thought about what it would be like to fight a kill the son of the legendary slug princess, Tsunade. After a while though, Temari decided to speak up. So when do we leave for Konoha? In 2 weeks' time, so you all have plenty of time to prepare, replied Baki, after which he told the Genin that they were all forbidden to mention the details of the mission to anyone, where once the three Genin nodded in acknowledgement, he dismissed them. Once Gaara and his siblings left the room, Baki turned out to look out at the window, whereas most of the time in Suna, the sun was shining brightly over their village. As he looked out at the village, he could not help but think about the mission that he and his team were doing, as well as wonder how the coming invasion on Konoha would play out in the coming weeks. In Kumagakure, currently sitting in his office, the Yondaime Reikage was waiting for the arrival of his younger brother Killer Bee, who was the current host of Hachibi no Kyogyu, Eight-Tailed Ox, and his Genin team. The Reikage of course did not have to wait too long, as after a little while his brother and his team entered the room. The Genin team consisted of a dark-skinned young boy named Amoe, along with a dark-skinned young girl named Karu, a short blonde-haired girl named Samui, and another blonde-haired girl named Yugito, who was also the current host of the Nibi no Bakoneko, two-tailed monster cat. Yo bro, how's it hanging? Spoke B when he and his team entered the office. Sighing at his younger brother's antics, the Reikage spoke B, you'll settle down, as I'm in no mood for your bad rapping. Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game, rhymed Killer B with a smile, which just made his brothers and his students sigh, after which Yugito decided to change the conversation away from their sensei's bad rhyming to why they were called here by the Reikage. Excuse me Reikage-sama, but why exactly did you call us here? Ah yes, now before I explain that, there is something I wish to tell you. Now as you all know, last year Killer B recommended all of you for the Chunin exam, after you had all completed a year of training with him, but I refused your entry into the exam and quad. To it this the four Genin nodded, as they all had been greatly frustrated when their sensei told them that the Reikage had refused their entry, as they believed that they were ready at the time. They were further frustrated as well, when the Reikage had refused to explain his reasons as to why he refused their entry. Even though I knew you would all do well in the exam, there was a good reason why I did not want you to enter last year's exam. For you see, when the Kyuubi attacked Konoha, the village lost not only many shinobis but also the Yondaime Hokage, which naturally showed Konoha's military strength, upon which our village made several attempts on trying to replace Konoha as the strongest of the shinobi nations. But all of them failed, one such example being the Hyuga clan incident, where we tried to acquire the Byakugan for our village, which resulted in failure, as not only did we not get it, but we lost one of our best shinobis and our reputation suffered for it as well, stated E with a frown, where neither Konoha nor Kumo came out winners in that incident. Naturally Killer B and the Genin nodded at this, as they were all familiar with that incident. Now the reason as to why I did not let you compete in last year's exam was because word had reached me that the survivor of the Uchiha massacre, Uchiha Sasuke, would be graduating this year. After hearing this, I was certain that Konoha would have him in this year's Chunin exam, so to show off the boy's power, as he is rumored to be a prodigy, not on the same level of his brother Itachi, but a prodigy nonetheless. Spoke the Reikage, but was interrupted by Karu. What the hell does all this have to do with us? I was getting, if you let me finish explaining. Janan rounded the rakeage with a frown, making Karu gulp a little and blush in embarrassment. As I was saying, stated the bulky Cage, where he looked at Karu, who blushed in embarrassment again. I knew Konoha would no doubt try and use the boy's fame and natural skill to impress the visiting daimyos and other spectators who would come to watch the match, especially since the Chunin exam will be held in Konoha this year. This would of course help to highlight Konoha's reputations, which has suffered with the massacre of the Uchiha clan and the loss of Uchiha Itachi, where they would use the exam to gain more missions, especially if the boy does well in the exam. This was why I held you back last year, as I've read all of B's reports on your individual skill level, which has only increased further from last year, making you the perfect candidates to face the boy, where if you defeat him in the exam in front of all those visiting dignitaries and clients, Konoha's reputation would suffer a humiliating blow, while ours would soar, as ever since the decline of the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan has been credited with being the strongest clan in Konoha. Hence a defeat of Konoha's top prize Janan in their own village in front of countless people would immediately show everyone that we're superior to Konoha, as well as cause many other nations and people to divert their mission requests to us instead of Konoha, thereby making us the strongest shinobi nation in Quad. At hearing this, the four Janan and Killer Bee nodded their heads, as the plan could work, but before any of them could comment on the Raikage's plan, the Raikage continued to speak. Unfortunately, though, an unforeseen circumstance has arisen that has greatly complicated the plan. What sort of complication? Asked Samui. Several weeks ago, I received reports from our intelligence of a strange rumor that sprung from Konoha, which has recently been confirmed to be true, stated the Raikage with a frown. What sort of rumor? Asked Yugito. A rumor that states that the Konoha no name Kuji Tsunade Haim, Konoha slug Princess Tsunade, of the Densetsu no Sanin, legendary 3 ninja, of Konoha, has had a child, spoke the Raikage, stunning all the Janan, as well as their sensei, who was so surprised that all he could say was whoa. Tsunade of the Sanin had a child? Repeated Karu in shock, as she still found it hard to accept. Raikage-sama, surely this is not true? Asked Samui, as like her teammate she found the news hard to believe. It is true, I'm afraid, replied the Raikage, as he could not blame the Janan for having trouble believing it, as when he first heard this news he could not believe it either, and since the boy is Tsunade's son, that then makes him the new heir to the Senju clan. But why are we only hearing about this now? Surely we should have heard about something like this earlier, asked Yugito. Seemingly when Tsunade gave to her son, she went into hiding, so to prevent anyone from learning that she had an heir, which is why no one has seen or heard anything about her for the past 12, explained the Raikage. At this the four Janan only nodded, as it did make sense, as once people learned that Tsuan of the Sanin had a child, many different people would go after the child. I'm guessing that he must be pretty skilled? Asked Amoe. He has answered the Kumo Cage. According to rumors he has been trained by not only his mother but by another of the Sanin, her former teammate Jiraiya the Toad Sage in Quad. Upon hearing this, the four Janan, including Samui and Yugito, shared worried glances, as the fact that the new Senju heir was trained by not one but 2 members of the Densetsu no Sanin, would almost guarantee that he would be extremely strong. Also, according to other rumors we've heard, the boy is also now a student. Uzumaki Kushina, said the Raikage. The Barati Shinku no Ikari, Bloody Crimson Fury? Asked Samui, as she had heard of Kushina's infamous reputation, especially when it came to their village. This was because of an incident involving her. Back when the Sandaime Raikage ruled, he ordered a team of elite shinobis to capture her due to a unique ability she had with Bijou. The plan of course failed, where she was rescued by Namikaze Minato, who would later be known as Konoha no Kyoto Senko, Konoha's Yellow Flash. After that incident, Uzumaki Kushina has held a long-standing strong grudge against their village, much like the Hyuga clan did, and was responsible for killing several of their best shinobis. The very same, replied A. Naturally, when the Kumo team heard this they became even more concerned. They all knew that the famed Barati Shinku no Ikari of Konoha was pushover, and if she was training the Senju heir, then that meant that Tsunade's son was even more dangerous. Oh man, what am I going to do? What if I have to fight the Senju heir? What if he turns out to be some super powerhouse shinobi? What if he has to fight Karu or Yugito or Samui? What if he kills or cripples me or the girls when we fight him? What if we accidentally kill him and Konoha gets pissed at us? Omi asked himself, as he began to think over the different ways this mission could turn out. As the four Janan digested the news, the Raikage everything in his head, where he could not help but hand it to Konoha. They had played their cards perfectly. He couldn't imagine a more perfect way to present this new Senju heir to the world than to have him appear in the Chunin exam when Konoha itself was hosting it. Not to mention having the last surviving Uchiha heir enter it at the same time. Once word spreads that the last 2 heirs of the 2 founding clans of Konoha, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan, were going to compete in the Chunin exam, every important official, noblemen and daimyo worth their salt would appear to see the two heirs fight, especially after hearing how both were regarded as prodigies. Given how both the Uchiha and the Senju clans were regarded as the two strongest shinobi clans in the shinobi world, their reputation was well known across the elemental continent, and having the last two surviving heirs compete in the exam would generate a massive amount of publicity to Konoha. Wealthy lords and clients come from all around and would spend and gamble large amounts of money in the village and on the match. Not to mention it would bring in many new clients and mission requests, especially if the two heirs put on a good enough show for the spectators. So what exactly should we do, Reikage-sama? Yugito asked, waking the hulky cage from his thoughts. The plan will go on. Even though the appearance of this new Senju heir will make things more difficult, it can still work, and if you can defeat both heirs in the exam, then the damage to Konoha's reputation would be extensive. Upon which everyone would have to acknowledge that Kumo has the strongest shinobis in the world, and I have faith that you will all do our village proud, said the Reikage, which raised the young genin's confidence in themselves. So will you all accept this mission? Asked the Reikage, already knowing the answer to it. Hi, replied the four genin. Very good, you all have 2 weeks before you leave for the exam in Konoha, so I suggest you all use your time well, said A, where the genin just nodded. It was at this point that the Reikage was then going to dismiss the team, but before he could, Samui suddenly spoke up. Pardon me, Reikage-sama, but would you happen to have a picture of both the Senju and Uchiha heirs, as I believe it would be a correct decision to know what our opponents look like in quad. Nodding at the request, the Reikage took out 2 photos from his desk drawer and showed them a photo of Sasuke. This is the Uchiha heir Uchiha Sasuke, younger brother of the infamous Konoha nuke nin Uchiha Itachi, who was responsible for the killing his entire clan, with the exception of Sasuke. Upon seeing Sasuke's picture, Kairo raised her eyebrow with interest. Humph, I have to admit he's not bad looking. Forget it, Kairo, I doubt he pay any interest flat-chested girls like you, commented Amoe, taking out the lollipop he was sucking. But as soon as he said this, Kairo smacked him across the back of his head, hard. And who the hell asked your opinion? Kairo retorted angrily after she smacked him on the back of the head, after which she then crossed her arms and huffed ha! Some men prefer young women with small chest and quad. Not wanting to be smacked on the head again, Amoe wisely decided not to respond and remained silent. At the same time that this was happening, the 2 blonde-haired girls sighed with annoyance at the antics of their other 2 teammates, and decided to move the conversation on. And what about Tsunade-sama's son? Asked Yugito. This is what he looks like. Spoke the Reikage as he showed the team the second photo and his name Senju Naruto. Upon seeing the photo, all 4 genin, including their senseis, eyes widened, recognizing the young blonde's face almost instantly. Seeing the surprised look on both his brother and his genin's faces, a frowned. What's wrong with you lot? You all look like you've seen a ghost. We not begun, Kairo, but before she could finish speaking, both Amoe and Killer Bee covered the girl's mouth, preventing her from speaking. We were just surprised that he was so young, that's all, spoke Amoe, slightly nervously. Yay, that all, bro, spoke Killer Bee, backing up his student's lie, while he kept Kairo from speaking. Obliviously the Reikage grew suspicious of this, but before he could press the matter further, Killer Bee quickly cut him off by saying that they had to leave for some special training they needed to do before they left for Konoha, after which he and the others quickly left the Reikage's office, while carrying the struggling Kairo in his arms. Once the group were out of the Reikage's tower and were in an isolated area, where no one could hear them, Killer Bee removed his hand from Kairo's mouth. What the hell are you guys doing? Hissed the young girl angrily. We should have told the Reikage that we knew him. If we had done that, then we would have to explain everything that happened when we met Naruto back then, where we would be in a world of trouble for not reporting what happened, explained Amoe. No doubt, we be in more shit, that in a shithouse, replied Killer Bee. Kairo of course knew this, but she still didn't like the fact that Killer Bee and Amoe stopped her from telling the Reikage. Well, we wouldn't be in this situation if you guys had listened to me in the first place. I told you he was lying to us, but none of you would listen to me. Naturally none of the others disagreed with her, as they knew what Kairo was saying was true, since she had been right along about Naruto not telling the truth. So what do we do, guys? Asked Amoe. Isn't it obvious? When we see him, we kill him. Kairo answered coldly. We can't do that, said Amoe. Wake up, idiot, that blonde bastard lied right to our faces. He used us, Kairo hissed angrily. Despite the fact that what Kairo said was true, Amoe remained reluctant to wanting to kill Naruto. In short time he and Naruto had hung out. He found that Naruto was a good person and considered him a friend. Hence why he wanted to believe that there was a good reason as to why his friend lied to them. What do you think we should do, sensei? Asked Amoe as he turned to Killer Bee. Ain't my place to tell ye all what you do, as it's all up to you, replied Killer Bee. This was a decision his students had to make by themselves. Naruto was their friend, hence he couldn't force them to do what they didn't want to do. Yugito, Samui, what do you think? Asked Amoe, as he turned to his other female teammates. After a moment of thinking, Samui voiced her opinion. I agree with Kuro, Naruto is a Konoha ninja and is therefore an enemy, Samui answered, without any emotion. Pleased at finally having some support, Kuro smirked, while at the same time a troubled look appeared on Amoe's face, where he then turned to look at Yugito, who was still thinking. After a few minutes of deep thinking, Yugito then spoke, our orders are clear. We were ordered by the Raikage himself to target Senju, Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke and his loyal shinobis of Kumo. We must follow our orders regardless of our feelings. And quote. Thinking that Yugito was agreeing with her, Kuro smiled triumphantly, while Amoe sighed in defeat. But before Kuro could say anything, Yugito continued, but still he did not say we had to kill him. Our orders are only to defeat him in the Chunin exam along with Uchiha Sasuke. Should we met Senju Naruto before the exam starts, we can question him regarding his lies to us, where we will act according to his answers to us. Do any of you problem with that? Yugito asked, looking at the rest of her team. Pleased to hear that Yugito was willing to hear Naruto's side of the story, Amoe smiled. Having no problem with this, Samui just nodded in agreement, since they would not be disobeying the Raikage's orders. Kuro on the other hand was a little displeased with Yugito's decision, but knew she could not argue with it, given how both Samui and Amoe accepted Yugito's decision. Still, she took solace in the fact that they agreed that Naruto was now their enemy, and that they would take him out in the Chunin exam without question. She was also looking forward to having another chance in fighting the young blonde again, as she had not forgotten how he humiliated the last time they fought, where she planned to beat Naruto to a pulp once she got the chance. Nodding at his students' decision, Killer Bee then told them that they should get down to some hard training before they leave for the Chunin exam. As the group left to go train, one thing was certain to happen when they arrived in Konoha, that a certain blonde-haired Senju heir had a lot to answer for when they finally met him again. 1. In this story, Mei is 20 years old too. Yugito and her team are 14 now, while Naruto is 12. Chapter 17, Gathering, Oha Hokage's mansion. Currently sitting in meeting hall, the Hokage along with all of the Jonin senseis of Konoha were gathered together to discuss the up-and-coming Chunin exam, which was taking place in their village this year. Thank you all for coming so quickly, spoke the Hokage, once all the Jonin senseis had gathered. Now, as some of you may or may not know, the Chunin exam are about to take place shortly. Upon hearing this, there was a large amount of muttering in the hall, as many of the Jonin senseis were surprised that it was time for the Chunin exam already. Fortunately though, after a minute or two, things settled down again, where the Hokage then continued to speak. So I would like to hear any recommendations from those of you who believe that their team is ready to compete in the exam. And quote. For the next few minutes a large number of Jonin senseis stood up and walked towards the Hokage, where they each recommended them their teams. The most notable of these teams that were recommended were the 3 rookie teams from this year's graduating class. Also to be recommended as well was Naruto, where both Kushina and Yamato went up to the Hokage to recommend him, which of course was no great surprise to the old Hokage, as he knew Naruto could handle himself in the exam. Naturally, after hearing that Naruto and the other rookies were entering the exam, many of the Jonin senseis began to talk amongst themselves on how exciting this year's exam was going to be, especially with both the Uchiha and the Senju heirs competing in it. As the Jonin senseis talked amongst themselves, Iruka, who was currently sitting next to the Hokage, decided to voice his concerns about Naruto and the other rookie teams entering the Chunin exam. Excuse me, Hokage-sama, but are you sure that it is wise to have 3 rookie Jonin teams, who only just graduated from the academy less than 6 months ago? Also, if Naruto enters the Chunin exam, then his existence will be exposed to the rest of the world. Although I both appreciate and understand your concerns, Iruka, the members of Teams 7, 8 and 10 are no longer your students, and if their senseis believe that they're ready to compete, then I'm certain they are. As for Naruto being exposed, I'm afraid that it's already too late for that, as word is already spreading throughout the elemental continent of Naruto's existence, spoke the old Hokage. But how? Asked Iruka. There are many different ways that it could have spread, for things like this are rarely kept secret forever. Plus the council has insisted that both Naruto and Sasuke enter this year's exam, and the shinobi elders are backing them up on this, as they know how much publicity our village would receive by having the 2 prodigy heirs of the 2 founding clans of Konoha compete in the Chunin exam, while it's being hosted in our village. Already now I've been told that ticket sales for the Chunin finals are already breaking all previous record sales. Yet we're still receiving many more requests, as daimyos, lords and influential clients from all around the continent are coming just to see Naruto and Sasuke compete, as the reputation of both the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan are well known. So the boys are being used to increase our village's status, stated Iruka with a frown, as he didn't like how the boys were being used. I'm afraid that is how the world works, Iruka, but even still I've faith that both of them are capable of handling themselves in the exam, as well as the other young rookie Jinan, spoke the old Hokage. At hearing this, Iruka relented, as he knew there would be no point in arguing, as the decision had already been made. As soon Iruka and the Hokage had finished speaking, one of the Jonin senseis decided to ask Sarutobi something. "Excuse me, Hokage-sama, but who exactly will Naruto-san be working with, as to enter the Chunin exam he will have to be on a team?" "Yes, I'm aware of that, which is why I've decided that during the exam Naruto will join up with Team 7. "Excuse me, Hokage-sama," spoke Kurenai suddenly, "but are you certain that is the correct decision? As in the Chunin exam a team needs to be able to work well together, and from what I understand out of all the Jinan teams he works with, Team 7 is the team that Naruto works the least well with. Would it not be better if he were to join up my team, as he works well with my team?" "Although that's true, Kurenai, I think the kid would do better on my team," spoke Asuma suddenly and came up next to her. "Even though he gets on well with 2 of your students, he doesn't exactly see eye to eye with your 3rd student Kiba, which is why I think it'd be best that he join with my team, as he gets on well with all of them and quad." After hearing both Kureani's and his son's suggestions, the elder Sarutobi spoke up. "Although there is indeed merit in what you both are saying, I believe that Naruto being on Team 7 would still be the best option. For as you both have said, Naruto gets on the least well with the members of Team 7, but yet during their mission in Nami no Kuni, Wave Country, they were all able to put aside their differences and were able to work well together as a team. Hence why I believe that they can do the same again in this exam. Plus this exam gives them the chance to further air out their problems with one another and become a proper team, as the Chunin exam has shown that it can improve a team's teamwork." At hearing this, both Kurenai and Asuma nodded their heads, for although they didn't fully agree with the Sandaime Hokage's decision, they did understand what he was trying to do, as he was trying to improve Naruto's and Team 7's working relationship with each other. Once the matter on which team Naruto would be working with was settled, the Sandaime called the meeting to an end and all the Jonin senseis left the room, where those that recommended their Genin's teams planned to inform their students. With Naruto, as Naruto walked through the streets of Konoha, the young Senju heir was in deep thought, where he barely acknowledged the many people of Konoha who greeted him as he passed them. The reason he was in such deep thoughts was because he was thinking over the events of his previous mission, involving Kaijika and his mysterious master. The more he thought about the mysterious master of Kaijika, the more frustrated he became, as he knew that there had to be some kind of link between this person and his mother. But he didn't know who, as his mother was a powerful and famed kunoichi and medic nin, meaning she had a long list of enemies that would come after him to get to her. Yet something kept nagging at him that he should know who this person was, but he couldn't figure out who it was. As he continued to walk down the street, he suddenly heard someone calling out to him. "Hey Naruto." When Naruto looked up, he saw that it was Sakura who was calling to him and walking towards him. "What's up, Sakura?" "As I kind in a hurry, as Yamato-sensei and Kushina-sensei asked me to meet them, and Yamato-sensei doesn't like it when I keep him waiting," said Naruto. "Well, I was wondering if you've seen Sasuke-kun, as I met Kakashi-sensei and he told me that he wanted me to find him and tell him that we're to gather at the bridge for a special meeting," replied Sakura. "Well, I haven't seen him," answered Naruto simply, as he didn't have time for Sakura and her obsession of Sasuke, as he had a lot on his mind right now. Surprised by Naruto's short remark, Sakura was about to ask him what was wrong with him, but before she could, she noticed a small box with 2 eye holes directly behind Naruto. "Hey Naruto, you do know that there's some kind of weird box following you?" asked Sakura, unsure on how to think of this. "Huh?" said a confused Naruto, not knowing what Sakura was talking about, but when he turned around he did indeed find a small cardboard box behind him with 2 small eye holes in it. After seeing it, Naruto figured that since he was so lost in thought about his last mission that he wasn't paying attention to his surroundings, it was also easy enough for him to figure out who was inside the box, as it didn't take a genius to know who was in it. Sighing with annoyance, Naruto decided to end the game. "Sigh, you can come out, Konohamaru, same goes for you Moegi and you Udon and Quat." Upon Naruto saying this, the cardboard box exploded, after which a large puff of smoke appeared, followed by several voices coughing. "Konohamaru, cough, cough, you used too much gunpowder again, cough, cough," cried a young female voice. Soon enough the smoke dissipated and it revealed 3 young children, each with a small wooden katana on their backs, similar in shape to Naruto's sword. Once the smoke was all gone, the 3 kids introduced themselves. "I'm Moegi, the sassiest kunoichi around," spoke the young girl named Moegi, who did a funny looking pose. "I love algebra, call me Udon," spoke the young glasses wearing boy named Udon, who also did a funny looking pose. "And I'm the #1 ninja in the village," Konohamaru declared. Konohamaru, where like his friends he did another funny looking pose. "And when we are all together, we are Team Konohamaru," said the 3 kids together. At this Naruto only sighed again, where he began to wonder if somehow his godfather Jiraiya, was secretly meeting these kids and giving them tips on introductions, as what they did was eerily similar to one of Jiraiya's intros. Sigh, yes I known it was all of you, as I just called out your names a moment ago, said Naruto with another sigh. Ha, just what I would expect from my rival in becoming Hokage, cried Konohamaru happily. Hey Naruto, you know these kids? Asked Sakura curiously. Yay, this is Konohamaru, the Sandaime Hokage's grandson, and these are his friends Moegi and Udon, answered Naruto, as Konohamaru had introduced Naruto to his friends not long after he and Konohamaru first became friends. Sakura was of course slightly surprised by this, but quickly got over it and then asked Naruto something else she was wondering. So why are they all carrying small wooden swords on their backs, like you do? Well, you see, Konohamaru and his friends kind of look up to me in a way, and they enjoyed watching me when I was training with my katana, so I each gave them a small wooden katana and quat. At hearing this, Sakura just nodded in understanding and had to admit that Naruto was a nice enough guy when he went to all that trouble to make Konohamaru and the kids happy. So Naruto ni-san, are you going to play ninja with us today, just like you said you would? Asked Konohamaru. At this, Naruto thought back to when he last saw Konohamaru and did remember saying he would play with Konohamaru and the others today. Sorry Konohamaru, I can't play today, as I'm a bit busy today. Besides, I still a bit annoyed at you for all the trouble you caused me last week with Gigi, said Naruto. Flashback last week. Currently in the Hokage's office, Naruto was standing in front of his surrogate grandfather, the Sandaime Hokage, who had called him to talk about something. You wanted for me for something, Gigi? Asked Naruto. Yes I did, Naruto spoke Sarutobi, as he smoked his pipe, after which he then presses the speaker button on his desk and said you can bring him in now and quat. Upon which Konohamaru entered the room, flanked by two masked onbus. At seeing this, Naruto raised his eyebrow in slight confusion, where he then turned to face the old Hokage. Hey Gigi, why is Konohamaru being escorted by two onbu, and what does he have to do with you wanting to talking to me? Well Naruto-kun, it's quite simply really, I called you and brought Konohamaru here, because I wanted to discuss to you about a certain little jutsu you taught him, answered the Sandaime with a knowing smirk, which only grew when he saw Naruto's eyes widen in surprise. You told him, cried Naruto, as he quickly spun around to face the Hokage's grandson. Sorry Ni-san, I was just so excited about learning the improved version of the Oiroku no Jutsu, sexy technique, that I kind of let it slip that you taught me it, said an embarrassed Konohamaru. Wait, an improved version? Spoke the elder Saruobi in surprise at hearing this. Upon hearing the Sandaime's surprise, Naruto suddenly and a sneaky idea to let both him and Konohamaru escape. Yay, here let me show you, replied Naruto, where he quickly made several shadow clones of himself in the room, and before the Sandaime or the two onbu could stop him, Naruto did 5 quick hand seals and then cried Haramu no Jutsu, harem technique. And quat, after which there was then a large puff of smoke that filled the room, where once it dissipated, the Sandaime and the others found that the room was now filled with multiple nude blonde-haired women, all in various intimate poses. Several others also had the arms wrapped around the old Hokage and the two male onbu agents, pressing their well-endowed chest into their bodies. Within moments of all this happening, the legendary Kami no Shinobi, god of shinobis, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was launched up into the air by a geyser of blood from his nose and slammed right into the ceiling of his office, where he then crashed to the floor, with a happy and perverted grin on his face. The Sandaime was of course not the only victim of this jutsu, as the two onbu that brought Konohamaru in were also launched into the air by their own geysers of blood from noses, although their masks hid their perverted smiles. After deactivating his jutsu, Naruto looked around the unconscious cage and the two onbu and was quite surprised at how effective his Haramu no Jutsu could be on some people. Originally he had created the Oiroku no Jutsu and the Haramu no Jutsu as pranks to use on Jiraiya and other perverts. He never liked using the jutsu much, as he felt like it made him a pervert and only used it to have a little fun, which was why he taught Konohamaru the Oiroku no Jutsu, as a harmless prank on his surrogate grandfather. Upon seeing that the Sandaime and the two onbu were knocked out, Naruto quickly turned to Konohamaru, where as soon as he did, he saw that the young boy had stars in his eyes. Ni-san exclamation mark dot dot dot, that was so cool, cried the young boy, can you please teach me that jutsu, can you, please? At seeing the young boy begging on his hands and knees on learning the Haramu no Jutsu, Naruto had a large sweat drop on the back of his head. Maybe later Konohamaru, but right now let's get out of here before they all wake up, spoke Naruto, where he grabbed hold of Konohamaru, and was about to run out of the office. But before he could get to the door, a new voice suddenly spoke up, that is far enough you two and quat. After which another onbu appeared right in front of Naruto and Konohamaru, standing right between them and the double doors, blocking their escape. This onbu was also different from the other two, as this one was a woman, given the sound of her voice, the shape of her body and her long purple hair that went down to her lower back. When the female Anbu made her appearance, Naruto guessed that she had been hiding up in the rafters of the room and had seen the entire event. "Both of you will stay right where you are until the Hokage and those two wake up," spoke the female Anbu wearing a cat-shaped mask, where she indicated the Sandaime and her two comrades. Naruto of course obediently obeyed the female Anbu's order, for although he could not see the woman's face he could tell that the woman was seriously ticked off, as given the number of times he had seen his mother beat up his godfather for his perverted habits. Naruto had formed a sort of sixth sense for such things and could sense when a woman was peeved. This fact was only highlighted further by the fact that the female Anbu had her sword drawn and was gleaming brightly, as if telling them that she was ready to cut both him and Konohamaru up. After a little while, as well as many tissues stuffed into noses, the Sandaime Hokage and the two Anbu woke, upon which the Sandaime declared that Naruto's Haramu no Jutsu was a forbidden A-rank jutsu. 1. "Well Naruto, considering everything, I've no choice but to punish you for not only what happened here, but also for all the trouble that your jutsu caused when you taught it to my grandson," spoke Sarutobi, as he remembered how much trouble Konohamaru caused him when he first used the Oiroke no Jutsu. For after using the Oiroke no Jutsu, Konohamaru had taken the Sandaime, hat and started to try and give orders out to the Anbu, stating that since he had defeated the Sandaime he was now the Hokage. Naturally the Anbu had thought that Konohamaru was only joking, but when he took them to the passed out Sandaime, they were shocked to say the least. That was until they found out how Konohamaru did it, after which the Sandaime had become the laughing stock of his own Anbu, where every now and again the Sandaime could hear the snickering of his Anbu. "Aw come on Gigi, it was just a harmless prank," said Naruto as he didn't see the harm in the jutsu. "Rules are rules Naruto and you have to be punished for your crime," replied Sarutobi, with a slight glint in his eyes as he had the perfect punishment for Naruto. "Fine, so what is it I have to do? D-rank missions, E-rank mission, or do I have to do some kind of punishment exercise?" asked Naruto, not the least bit concerned as he was certain that he could handle whatever the Sandaime could throw at him. Unfortunately though, this confidence quickly fell when he saw a glint in the Sandaime's eye and an evil smirk that would have made a certain Snake Sanin proud. "As punishment for what you've done, I shall be informing your mother of what you've done." When the Konohamaru heard what his grandfather was going to do, he didn't think that was much of a punishment, but his opinion quickly changed after he saw Naruto's expression. For when the Sandaime said that he was going to tell his mother, Naruto almost immediately turned ghost white and started to shake like a leaf. Even the three Anbu spared sympathetic glances at you young blonde, as they did not envy the young blonde's position. Why yo you CC can't, why you KK know what Ka-chan would do TT to me," said the panicking Naruto, as he remembered the last time he was punished by his mother. As he thought back to this, he began to shiver in fear, as horrific images of nightmarish training and punishment exercise, which his mother had put him through, where by the end of them there wasn't a part of his body that wasn't aching in pain or could move. Although all that would be considered child's play compared to the horrors she would unleash, once she found out about his Oiroke no Jutsu and his Haramu no Jutsu. "Oh, I'm aware of what your mother would do Naruto-kun," said Sarutobi with a sadistic grin, as he enjoyed the look of horror that appeared on Naruto's face, as he found it fitting after all extra paperwork and the humiliation his surrogate grandson had caused him. When Naruto saw this, he knew that he had to do something quick or else his near future would be none too bright. As he began to think of different ways he could avoid his punishment, a spark of inspiration suddenly hit Naruto. "Wait, what if I offered you something that would make you reconsider telling Ka-chan about what happened here?" said Naruto, while praying that his idea would work. And what is it that you would be offering?" asked Sarutobi as he raised his eyebrow with mild curiosity. "Well, in exchange for you keeping all this quiet from Ka-chan, I will tell you the secret to beating all your paperwork within a few short hours," said Naruto. Within the blink of an eye of Naruto saying this, the Sandaime suddenly appeared right in front of Naruto on bended knees. It's a deal, now please Naruto, tell me how to get rid of this cursed bane, I can't take it anymore, it's going to be the death of me, I swear it," stated the begging Sandaime with anime tears falling from his eyes. At this sight, both Konohamaru and the three Anbu had large sweat drops at the back of their heads at seeing the former Kami no Shinobi like this. At hearing this Naruto smiled. "Okay, the secret is in two little words, which are Kage Bunshin and Quat." At hearing this, the sweat drops on the back of Konohamaru and the three Anbu grew even bigger, at how the famed professor had not thought of something so simple and obvious. After hearing this, the Sandaime quickly regained his composure and immediately returned to his desk, after which he then dismissed Naruto and the three Anbu. Although as soon as they left the Hokage's office and closed the large double doors behind them, they all heard the Sandaime yell out, "Why the hell didn't I think of that?" After which it was followed by a series of loud banging noises of something hard hitting a desk and the Sandaime repeating the words "Baka, Baka, Baka" over and over again. Naturally, when those outside heard this, they all had large sweat drops on the back of their heads and decided to leave well enough alone and leave the building. End flashback. As Konohamaru finished remembering, he scratched the back of his head in embarrassment and laughed nervously. Hee, yay, sorry about that, Nii-san, but still everything worked out in the end. Barely muttered Naruto, but luckily for you, I don't believe in holding grudges for very long. At this, Konohamaru smiled. So will you play ninja with us then? The young boy asked. Like I said, Konohamaru, I can't, as I've important stuff to do today, replied Naruto. At hearing this, the young Sarutobi heir moaned, but as he did, he finally took notice of Sakura, who was next to Naruto, where a saucy grin appeared on his face. Oh, I see you're a smooth operator, boss, so she is your important business. If you just told us that from the start, we understand that you want to spend so time with your, said Konohamaru, as he held up his pinky finger, indicating that she was Naruto's girlfriend. What? Cried the pink-haired girl when she heard what Konohamaru said and saw his pinky finger raised up. Luckily though, before Sakura could scream out her denial of such an outlandish idea, Naruto spoke up. I'm afraid you're way off base there, Konohamaru, as Sakura is not my girlfriend. She is just someone I work with now and again, nothing more, as I've no interest in anyone like her, stated Naruto calmly, as the idea of having someone like Sakura as a girlfriend was ridiculous to him. Not that Sakura was ugly or anything. It was just that she wasn't the type of girl he was interested in. He liked girls who were not only pretty, but who were kind, friendly, and if they were a kunoichi, that they were serious about their duties and were strong fighters, who spoke their minds and were unafraid to voice their opinions to him. Sakura lacked many of these qualities. Although she wasn't bad looking, she did not take her shinobi duties seriously and was weak compared to other kunoichis like Hinata, or his female friends from Kumo Yugito, Karu, and Samui. She also would flaunt over Sasuke and agree with anything he said like a loyal dog, something that of course greatly irked Naruto, as even Shien and Rurishio, who had no combat training, were better than her in that way, as they at least would not act like this and would be unafraid to voice their own opinions. Even Ino, who was like Sakura in many ways, showed more promise than Sakura right now, as she at least knew some jutsus outside the basics and could work well with her team and fight. The only thing that Naruto saw going for Sakura was her book smarts, her flawless chakra control, and the few small things that Kakashi taught her, which of course would not get her very far in the long run. After hearing what Naruto said, Sakura seemed pleased that Naruto denied that she was his girlfriend, as her heart would only belong to her true love Sasuke. But as she thought this, she suddenly realized what else Naruto said and grew slightly angry at the remark. Wait, what the hell do you mean by having no interest in a girl like me? What the hell is wrong with me? Spoke the annoyed pink-haired girl. Naruto of course would have answered this, but before he could, Konohamaru suddenly spoke up. Yeah, I guess I can see why. You can do way better than her, or at the very least a girl who doesn't have as wide a forehead as her and quad. Upon hearing this, Naruto could not help but sigh, knowing what was going to happen next, especially seeing the dark aura that was now forming around Sakura. This was of course another reason why he didn't go for Sakura, as she reminded him way too much of his mother, or at least in certain areas like temperament, since Sakura had a very short fuse, much like his mother. Whoa boy, Konohamaru, you seriously must have a death wish, thought the young Senju heir. As Naruto saw the dark aura around Sakura grow, he turned to his young friend, who remained oblivious to the danger he was now in. Konohamaru, if I were you right now I would run. What do you mean, boss? Asked Konohamaru. His question was of course quickly answered, when he heard the sound of cracking knuckles, which Naruto remarked was similar in the way he and his mother would do, when they were about to lay a beat down on someone. When Konohamaru turned to Sakura, he saw that the pink-haired girl was glaring daggers at him, while she cracked her knuckles. Knowing that he was in trouble, and deciding to take Naruto's advice, Konohamaru instantly turned around and ran at full speed down the streetway. Not letting her prey get away, Sakura quickly sped after Konohamaru with speed that Naruto had to admit was rather impressive. Seeing that Konohamaru was in trouble, Moegi quickly turned to Naruto. Boss, you gotta save Konohamaru, she might actually kill him. At this, Naruto only sighed again. Although he knew Sakura wouldn't actually kill the young Sarutobi, he would be fairly bruised up. But even still, he really didn't want to go and explain to the Sandaime why he'd let Konohamaru get beaten up, as he was in enough trouble as it is with the Sandaime. Sigh, I really don't have time for all this shit, thought Naruto. Fine, let's go. If we're lucky, by the time we get there Konohamaru will only have a few lumps on his head, said Naruto as he, Moegi and Udon went after Sakura and the fleeing Konohamaru. As Konohamaru continued to run from the monster known as Sakura, he quickly made a sharp turn to the left and entered a different streetway, after which he then looked back to see if Sakura was following him, but as he did, he didn't notice the two people that were walking in that streetway, one of whom he crashed into. After crashing into the person, Konohamaru suddenly found himself being pulled up by his scarf. That hurt you little punk, sneered the boy as he held Konohamaru up. Put him down, Kankuro, or you know you pay for it later, stated the blonde-haired girl to the boy named Kankuro. Hey, I'm sorry, the whole thing was my fault. He only ran into because of me, spoke Sakura, hoping to get Konohamaru out of the situation as she knew this was her fault. Although at the same time she wondered who the boy and girl were. Ignoring Sakura, Kankuro quickly turned to the girl next to him. Hey Tamari, we got a few minutes before he arrives, let's mess with these punks. Let go of me, you jerk, cried Konohamaru as he began trying to kick Kankuro and get him to let him go. Oh, you're feisty, but not for long, said Kankuro with a grin, as he gripped tighter onto Konohamaru's scarf, slowly choking the boy. I suggest you do what he says and let him go, spoke Naruto cold tone as he walked forward with Moegi and Udon behind him. Ha, another punk, stated Kankuro, unafraid of Naruto. At the same time the blonde-haired girl named Tamari raised her eyebrow with interest when she saw Naruto. He's not bad looking. I told you to let him go, said Naruto as he narrowed his eyes, as if there was one thing he couldn't stand, it was bullies who picked on his friends. TSK, you're annoying, as I don't like any runts or scrawny weaklings like you lot, especially when you start shouting out your mouths, trying to look tough. For whenever they do, I just want to snap them all in two, spoke Kankuro with an evil-like grin. Ha, fine, do what you want, but I'm not getting involved in any of this, as it's all on you, spoke Tamari, not caring what her younger brother did. TSK, don't worry sis, this won't take long. First I going to take care of this one, then I take care of the rest of them, said Kankuro, as he raised his fist to hit Konohamaru. Seeing this, Naruto was about to make his move, but before he could, he suddenly saw a small pebble fly through the air out of the corner of his eye and hit Kankuro's wrist. After being hit, Kankuro almost immediately dropped Konohamaru, as he held his wrist in pain from being hit so suddenly and hard. When everyone looked to where the pebble came from, they saw Sasuke sitting up on the thick branch of a nearby tree. You're a long way from home and way out of your league, said Sasuke as he stared at Kankuro, who looked pissed at Sasuke stopping him. Sasuke-kun, cried Sakura with joy at seeing her crush arriving to the rescue. Even Naruto looked slightly pleased at Sasuke's arrival, as thanks to him, Konohamaru, who was now standing behind Naruto, was able to get away from Kankuro. I hate to admit, but nice going there, Sasuke thought the blonde boy, as he glanced at his part-time teammate. Well, another local hottie. It seems Konoha has quite a few cute boys in it, thought Tamari as she glanced at Sasuke. TSK, another punk to piss me off, muttered Kankuro as he held his wrist and glared at the young Uchiha. I suggest that you get lost, spoke Sasuke with a cold stare, where he then crushed the small pebble that he was holding in his hand. Cool, tried both Sakura and Myogi, with heart-shaped eyes. Ignoring the girls ogling at Sasuke, Naruto stared at the two siblings. For once I agree with the team over there. So get lost, TSK. Punks like you two really tick me off. You're all talk and have nothing to back it up with. That's why the shinobi of this village are so weak, said Kankuro with a sneer. Is that so? Spoke Naruto, gaining everyone's attention, because if that's the case, then what does that make you lot, as everyone knows that out of all the 5 great shinobi nations, Suna is the weakest. Although if you ask me, that's giving you lot too much credit, since if the shinobis of Suna have taken up bullying little kids to make themselves feel big, then they aren't worth even being called third-rate shinobi *s and quat. At hearing this, Kankuro became furious, as he was a proud shinobi and wouldn't stand for some smartass punk insulting him or his village. Why you? Growled Kankuro, where he decided that he was going to teach Naruto a lesson, where he took off the large bandaged object that he was carrying on his back and slammed it onto the ground. What? You're going to use the crow for this? Cried a worried Tamari, when she saw what her younger brother was going to do. Seeing that things were going to escalate and not wanting a fight to start in the street way, where Konohamaru and the other kids would get caught up in, Naruto decided to act. Doing some quick one-handed hand seals, without anyone noticing, as they were too busy staring at Kankuro and the object he took off his back, Naruto quickly prepared to end the battle before it could begin. After finishing the hand seals, his fingerless gloves and his boots began to glow a soft white, telling Naruto that the seals on them were deactivated. These seals, which were on his gloves and his boots, were put on my Jiraiya so to help Naruto's training. These seals were for a special jutsu called the Fuinjutsu, Shishiyamamai Shiru, sealing technique, 4 limbs weighting seal, which increased the weight of the objects exponentially, weighing down the target's limbs. Normally these seals were placed on prayer beads, which would be wrapped around the user's ankles and wrists, but Jiraiya had improved on this technique, where he could place the seals on article of clothing. Jiraiya had also later on taught Naruto how to do the jutsu, so that he could increase the weight on his gloves and boots once he got used to the weight or when he wanted to deactivate the seals. Once the seals were deactivated, Naruto immediately acted, where he disappeared right in front of everyone's eyes, but before anyone could react to Naruto disappearing, he reappeared right behind Kankuro, kicking the back of his legs and forcing the Tsunade down on his knees and then holding his katana, which he had drawn, in a reverse sword grip against Kankuro's neck. "What the?" cried Kankuro in surprise, as he couldn't understand what had just happened, as Naruto had been right in front of him 1 second and the next second he, Kankuro, was on his knees with a katana at his throat. "So fast," thought Temari with shock, as she couldn't track him until he appeared behind her brother and forced him to his knees. Even Sasuke, Sakura and the kids were surprised at Naruto's sudden show of speed. Sasuke was especially surprised, since even his keen eyes weren't able to keep up with Naruto's speed. Quickly enough though, Temari recovered from her surprise of Naruto's speed and went for her fan that she carried on her back. But before she could lift her fan off her back, she suddenly found a kunai blade pointed at her jugular. As Naruto had seen what she was going to do out of the corner of his eye and had quickly taken out a kunai. "Don't," spoke Naruto coldly, without even looking at her. "Way go ni-san, you're awesome," cried Konohamaru, as he cheered his older brother figure on, along with both Moegi and Udon. Naruto of course smirked at the younger kid's cheers, but quickly became serious. "Now then, if you and your sister know what is best for you, the two of you'll apologize to my friend there and then get lost and not cause any more trouble in Quat." At hearing this, Kankuro gritted his teeth in anger and growled at Little, "Damn you punk, if I could, I would Quat." But before he could finish speaking, another voice suddenly spoke up out of nowhere. "Kankuro, that's enough, you're an embarrassment to our village in Quat." Upon hearing this voice, everyone was of course shocked as no one had even sensed another person's presence. It was after hearing this person, everyone immediately started looking around for the person and found him on the same tree that Sasuke was sitting on, standing upside down on a different branch that was on the other side of Sasuke's tree branch behind the tree trunk. The person in question was a red-headed young boy, who looked to be about their age with a tattoo of love on his forehead, above his left eye and carried a large gourd on his back. Both Sasuke and Naruto were especially surprised that neither of them had the boy as they'd both had their shinobi senses on high alert. "How did he get there? He never made a sound, without any of us hearing him. Only Jonin at Kakashi's level are that smooth," thought Sasuke with a calculating looking. "Whoever the hell this guy is, he's dangerous," thought Naruto, as he stared at the new arrival, as his stealth skills are better than mine. I never even sensed him until he spoke, and by just looking at him, I know he gonna be trouble in Quat. Seeing the redhead boy, Kankuro quickly became very nervous, knowing that he was in trouble. Hey Gaara ignoring his elder brother. Gaara looked at Naruto. "Excuses them you guys, as they're fools. Can you please release both of them and Quat?" At first Naruto was unsure to comply or not, but soon decided to let both Kankuro and Temari go, as he didn't want to escalate the situation any further than it did, especially at how Gaara appeared out of nowhere without anyone noticing him, since if they did fight him, Konohamaru and kids would certainly get caught in the fight. Nodding in agreement, Naruto removed his katana from Kankuro's throat and placed the blade back in its sheath on his back again, along with removing his foot from the back of Kankuro's leg, so to allow Kankuro to stand back up. At the same time Naruto also removed his kunai from Temari's throat, after which he then Sunshine, Body Flicker, back to his original position with Konohamaru, Sakura and the others. Seeing this, Gaara's eyes narrowed ever so slightly, before he then turned back to stare at his brother. "You know why we've come all this way to Konoha, so why are you causing all this trouble?" asked Gaara with an emotionless tone. "Listen Gaara," spoke the nervous Kankuro, who was sweating up a storm, fearing what his younger brother would do. "These guys started it and shut up," spoke Gaara coldly. "I kill you, if you keep giving me your pitiful excuses and Quat." Hearing this Kankuro became ever more fearful and gulped. "You're right, I was at fault, I'm sorry, I'm really, really sorry." He has unpleasant eyes, thought Sasuke as he stared at Gaara. "This guy gives me the creeps, as he has a sort of dark aura around him," thought Naruto, as he was liking Gaara less and less by the minute. As the two boys stared at Gaara, the redhead stared back at them with a cold calculating look. He hit Kankuro's hand with a pebble so easily and forced him to drop that kid, thought Gaara as he looked at Sasuke, before he turned Naruto, and he took down both Kankuro and Temari in just a few seconds. "Both of them are good," thought the young redhead, after which he then used Asuna Sunshine, Sand Body Flicker, from the branch he was on, to his two siblings. "Let's go, we didn't come here to fool around," ordered Gaara, when he looked at Temari and Kankuro. "I know," spoke Kankuro, with a little relief that Gaara wasn't going to kill him. As the three Tsunade were walking away, Sakura suddenly came forward and spoke up. "Wait. What is it?" asked Gaara, not even looking back at Sakura. "Both Hai no Kuni, Fire Country, and Kaze no Kuni, Wind Country, are allied with each other," But there is a treaty that prevents the ninjas of the two countries from entering either country without permission, so explain why you are here? According to your reasons we will. Spoke Tamari, as she and her younger brothers turned around to answer. What you're looking for is closer than you think. Huh? Asked a confused Sakura, not understanding what the older blonde meant. You don't know anything, do you? Asked the Tamari, where she then took out a small slip of paper with her photo on it and held it up. This is a traffic pass, which allows us to enter your country and village. We're here to participate in the Chunin exam. The Chunin exam, is it that time already? Thought Naruto with some surprise. Now that we've answered your questions, we'll go, spoke Gaara, as he and his siblings started to walk away again, but before they could, Sasuke suddenly jumped down from the tree that he was sitting on. Hey, you there, spoke the young Uchiha, what's your name? Hearing this, Tamari turned around with a smile. Me? No, the one next to you with the gourd. Naturally Tamari was disappointed at this, while turned Gaara simply replied, Sabaku no Gaara, Gaara of the Sand Waterfall, and you? What is your name? Uchiha Sasuke Gaara of course just nodded at this, before he turned to look at Naruto, who was staring silently at him. I am also interested in learning your name as well, Senju. Naruto replied. Naruto calmly. After hearing Naruto's name, the three Suna siblings were naturally surprised. Shit, this is the guy that Sensei warned us about, thought Kankuro as he looked at Naruto. So this is the heir of the Senju clan. Figures Kankuro would pick a fight with the very person that Baki Sensei told us to avoid as much as possible, thought Tamari, as she stared at Naruto with interest. I see, said Gaara, I've heard of you. You're the son of Konoha no name Kuji Tsunade Haim, Konoha's slug princess Tsunade, member of the Densetsu no Sanin, the legendary three ninjas. Naruto of course frowned a little at this, as he was getting pretty tired of everyone always saying he was his mother's son. Not that he was ashamed of his mother or anything, it was just that he wanted to be recognized for himself, not for being the son of the name Kuji Tsunade Haim or the descendant of the Shadaime and Nidaime Hokages. Will you be entering the Chunin exam as well? Asked Gaara with some interest. Maybe, replied Naruto emotionlessly. Hearing this, Gaara smirked slightly. Good, I look forward to meeting you in the exam, after which he and his siblings jumped away. Things are certainly getting interesting, thought both Sasuke and Naruto at the same time, after Gaara and his brother and sister left. Way go boss, you were awesome, cried Konohamaru, as he pumped his fist into the air, along with Moegi and Udon. Naruto of course just smiled at this, but his smile quickly turned to worry when he realized the time and knew he was late for his meeting with his senseis. Shit, I'm late, Yamato sensei is going to kill me, thought Naruto, as he realized how long he had been held up with Konohamaru and the Suna team. Listen guys, I gotta go, as I'm late for a meeting with Yamato sensei and Kushina sensei, said Naruto hastily, as he was about to shunshine away, but before he could he saw a glimmer of light out of the corner of his eye. Acting quickly, Naruto drew his katana out from his back, as he turned around and skillfully deflected the shurikens with his katana, while at the same time, making sure that the shurikens he deflected did not hit Sasuke, Sakura or the kids. After deflecting all the shurikens, Naruto's shinobi senses kicked in, warning him of an incoming attack. Listening to his shinobi senses, Naruto immediately spun around and avoided a sword stab from behind from his attacker. As he spun around, Naruto quickly smacked away the person's hand with the side of his blade, as the person thrusted forward, making the person drop their katana. At the same as he was smacking the katana out of the person's hand, he kicked the persons from behind their legs, causing the person to fall backwards onto the ground hard, upon which Naruto then immediately placed his foot on the person's throat, keeping the person on the ground and from moving. After dealing with the unknown attacker, Naruto suddenly saw two more flashes of light on either side of him, indicating two more attackers coming at him from both sides. Knowing he didn't have much time, Naruto swiftly took out a kunai and raised it, blocking the first attacker's katana with it, while at the same time blocking the second attacker's katana with his own katana. All of this of course happened in the space of only a few seconds, where to the observers, one moment Naruto walking away from them and the next, he was being attacked by shuriken and unknown assailants. Naturally after seeing this, Sasuke immediately took out an kunai and was about to intervene, but before he could, the second assailant, a young blonde-haired girl with a long pony-like tail that reached down her lower back, spoke. It seems that you have gotten stronger since we last met, Naruto and Quat. When Naruto heard this and got a better look at the second assailant, he instantly recognized the person. Yugito? Cried the surprised Senju heir, where the female blonde just nodded in affirmation, where she pulled her katana away from Naruto's and placed it back on her back. Yugito had grown up quite a bit, although she was still the same in many other ways. She was now taller than she was before, where she was about half a head taller than Naruto. Naruto also couldn't help but notice that not only had she grown taller but also developed a more curvaceous build than she had before. Yugito wore a tight black and white shirt and standard black shinobi-style pants, and her kunai holster was tied to her right thigh. Yugito also wore purple fingerless gloves with bandages wound tight around her arms and had long string of seemingly plain red beads wound around her left arm, along with a red sash tied around her waist, and carried her long katana on her back. Seeing that one of his attackers was Yugito, Naruto turned to his first attacker, who turned out to be Samui, who, like Yugito, pulled her katana back and placed it back in her sheath and nodded to Naruto in acknowledgement when he turned to her and spoke her name. Samui had also grown up quite a bit from when Naruto last saw her, where like Yugito she had developed a more curvaceous build, not to mention her bust had gone from an A cup to a C cup. She wore a very low-cut outfit with mesh underneath, a short skirt and red hand guards, high boots and a short of girdle that helped highlight her cleavage, which worked given the small out of blood that leaked from Konohamaru and Udon noses. She also had her tanto strapped horizontally to her lower back, like before. Once the girls pulled away their swords, Naruto then looked at his original attack, who was struggling to get Naruto of her throat. When Naruto looked down, he saw that his original attacker was none other than Kaoru. Upon seeing this, Naruto quickly lifted his foot off the girl's throat and allowed her up, where she proceeded to glare angrily at Naruto. Kaoru hadn't changed much, although had grown taller, but hadn't developed as curvaceous as Yugito or Samui had. She wore a long short-sleeved dress as her ninja attire, complete with purple stockings, boots with white soles, and wore her forehead protector like a bandana. Like most of her team, she also carried her long sword on her back. "Okay guys, what the hell was that just now? Why did you just attack me just now?" asked Naruto. "It was a test. Yugito wanted to see if you had gotten any stronger since we last met, and given how well you handled yourself there, it seems you have spoke." Another person, who appeared in front of Naruto. "Amoe," said Naruto with a smile, when he saw his friend. "Good to see you," Naruto spoke Amoe with his one smile, as he sucked on his lollipop. Amoe hadn't changed much at all with the exception of growing a bit taller. He wore a dark outfit consisting of an overlong shirt with a hood, with red bandage hand guards and shin guards, and carried a long sword on his back. As this was going on, Sasuke, Sakura and the kids all got confused looks on their faces, as none of this was making any sense to them. As 1 minute the 4 unknown shinobis were attacking Naruto and the next he was acting like he was meeting old friends. "Naruto, who the hell are these people?" asked Sasuke, as he still held his kunai in his hand, unsure what to think of them. Seeing that Sasuke had a kunai out and fearing that things would get out of hand like they did with Gaara and his team, Naruto quickly responded. "Easy Sasuke, these guys aren't a threat. They are from Kumo and they are old friends of mine, who I met during my travels with my Ka-chan." "Friends would be a stretch given how you lied to us," Naruto-san spoke Samui coolly as she stared at Naruto rather harshly, causing that young Senju to cringe a little knowing he was in trouble with friends. "So I guess you guys know Abu and Quat. About you being the son of Tsunade of the Sannin and being the heir to the Senju clan," spoke Yugito with a look that clearly told Naruto that he wasn't on her list of favorite people right now. Yay. I guess you kind found about that. He said Naruto as he laughed nervously at Yugito and the others stared at him. "Kind of hard not to, as did you really think that we wouldn't find out for ourselves?" said Yugito. At this Naruto just sighed, as he knew that it was naive of him to think that he could inform his friends himself as to who he really was. He never wanted to lie to them, but he had no choice, as he had to think about his family, for if he told his friends, he knew that as loyal shinobi they would be obligated to inform their leader, who would then hunt him and his family down. Tired of not knowing what was fully going on, Sasuke decided to speak up. "Senju, why don't you introduce us to your friends here and why they're here?" "Oh right, sorry, this is Yugito, Amoe, Samui and Kaoru, and like I said they're from Kumo," said Naruto as he introduced each of his friends. "Guys, this Uchiha Sasuke and Haruna Sakura and the kids with them are academy students, who I'm friends with. They're Sarutobi Konohamaru and his friends Moegi and Udon." "Are these your teammates, Naruto?" asked Amoe, after Naruto introduced Sasuke and the others to them. "Sort of, I work with them from time too, but I'm not on an official team, as I am under an apprenticeship with another Jonin sensei," replied Naruto, where Amoe just nodded as that confirmed what the Raikage had told them. "So this is the Uchiha clan heir," thought Yugito as she studied one of her assigned targets. He's even better looking in person than in his photo," thought Kaoru with a slight blush. After Naruto and introduced his friends from Kumo to him, Sasuke gave them each a calculating look, as trying to measure them up. Karen and Amoe did not seem all that dangerous or threatening to him, but knew that they were still skilled shinobis, given how they walked around and how they attacked Naruto. 3. But the people that caught Sasuke attention the most were Samui and Yugito. Samui stood out to Sasuke was because of the calm, cool, emotionless look she kept on her face, while she stared back at him. The way she looked at him of course reminded him of the same kind of look that his brother Itachi would sometimes look at him. Yugito on the other hand stood out to him, due to the similar sort of feeling he had when he was around Gaara, where unlike the Tsunade, Yugito did not have a crazed dark look around her that Gaara had, but had the same kind of powerful look in her, but more controlled than Gaara. When Sakura saw Sasuke staring at Yugito and Samui, she immediately took it up the wrong way, believing that he was attracted to the two blonde girls. Oh no, Sasuke-kun is eyeing those girls. Is he interested in them? Does he prefer blondes or does he prefer girls with big chest? Thought the worried pink-haired girl, where the sinking feeling of being inadequate began to sink in. When she compared her chest size to Samui and Yugito, who although was not as big as the other blonde, was still more developed than Sakura was. I say we kick their butts and show them who's boss, cried inner Sakura, where normally in such situations like this, Sakura would agree with her inner personality. But fortunately, for her, her more logical side told her that there was a better way to stop the girls from stealing Sasuke from her and Quat. Deciding to gain the Kumo Nin's attention and away from her Sasuke-kun, Sakura spoke up and asked them a question. So are you guys here for the Chunin exam as well? Yes, replied Yugito, as she turned to the pink-haired girl, before she then turned to Naruto. I assume that you'll be entering the exam as well, Naruto? Maybe, answered Naruto, as he was unsure if his sensei would recommend him for the exam, although he did believe that he was more than ready for it. So where is Killer B? I'd like to see him again, asked Naruto, as despite B being a bit weird, Naruto still liked the man, as he was the one who first taught him how to fight with a sword. Sensei is at your admission office to official sign us in the Chunin exam, answered Yugito, where Naruto just nodded in understanding and was about to ask him another question, but before he could, Samui suddenly spoke. Although I'm sure you have many questions for us, Naruto-san, we also have some questions for you as well, spoke the blonde-haired girl rather coolly, with a serious look that told Naruto that she wanted answers. Naruto also saw this look in Yugito and the others as well and knew that he had a lot to explain to his friends and they did deserve to know the truth. But even still, this wasn't the place where he wanted to tell them, especially in front of Sasuke and the others. Fine, Naruto said, but not here. I explain everything back at my apartment in Quat. Hearing this, Yugito and the others just nodded, where Naruto quickly bid Konohamaru and the others goodbye, and then jumped away with Yugito and her team, leaving Sasuke, Konohamaru and all the others in the streetway, before any of them could stop them or ask them where they were going. In a nearby tree, sitting on a large tree that overlooked the streetway where Naruto and the others were, 3 shinobis with the symbol of the Otogakur, hidden sound, watched the events between Gaara and the Konoha Nins, as well as the events that proceeded after it. Once Naruto left with Yugito and her team, the 3 Otogenon watched Sasuke and Sakura head off together to meet with their sensei, while Konohamaru and his gang went off in their own directions. When everyone had left, one of the 2 male members of the team spoke to the other male member. So that's the son of Konoha no named Kuji Tsunade Haim and the Uchiha clan heir? What do you think of them, the Dosu? The blonde-haired boy has some skill, I'd admit that, and the black-haired kid isn't too bad either. But we also must keep an eye on the redhead with the gourd as well, spoke the bandage-wearing boy named Dosu, after which he and his team then left. On a rooftop hidden atop a rooftop of a nearby building, Sai waited patiently for his ink bird to return to him, which had been perched in a tree nearby and had been listening into the 2 incidents involving his teammates and Naruto. Once the bird returned to him, it merged with a blank scroll, after which a written account of the 2 separate incidents involving the Kumo-jinan and the Tsunade appeared, where it mentioned everything that happened and what was spoken. When Sai read over the account, his left eyebrow rose with interest when he read the account between Naruto and the Kumo-jinan. Interesting, Danzo-sama will want to know this, thought the young root agent, where he planned to inform Danzo of this, after he met with Kakashi and his team, since he didn't want to raise suspicion with his team by missing their meeting at the bridge, after which he used his Sumigasumi no Jutsu, ink mist technique, to disappear from the rooftop. Naruto's apartment. After about 10 minutes of traveling across the rooftops of the buildings of Konoha, Naruto, Yugito and her team arrived at Naruto apartment. Naruto apartment was spacious enough, but not too big either. He had a small kitchen, which was the first thing people would see when entering the apartment. There was a large living room that had a large couch that was big enough to let 3 people sit together along with the regular armchairs. To the left there was 3 doors, 2 of them lead to small bedrooms, one of which was Naruto's and another was a spare. The third and final door lead to a small bathroom, with a shower, sink and toilet. All in the entire apartment was simply, yet it had everything Naruto could really need and the rent was cheap enough. Nice place you have here, Naruto spoke Amoe as he and the others entered the apartment and looked around it. Thanks, replied Naruto, where he led the Kumo-jinan into the living room, where Samui, Amoe and Kaoru all sat on the large couch, while Yugito sat on the armchair and Naruto sat on the other remaining one. I guess that I should explain myself now, said Naruto once he and the others sat down. Yes, you should, stated Yugito simply. Look guys, it's not like I wanted to lie to you, it's just that I had no choice but to, since if I told you who I really was then I would have put my family in danger, said Naruto, where he then heard a scoff coming from Karu. What, don't believe me, Karu? Asked Naruto, not being surprised that Karu didn't believe him, as she had never trusted him. No, I don't, replied the girl. Well, it's the truth, please. You actually want us to believe that you had no choice but to lie to us? Yes, because it is the truth, answered the young blonde boy. Karu of course would have remarked on this, but before she could, Amoe interrupted her. Hold on, Karu, I think Naruto is telling the truth. Oh please, that's what you said last time, and look how that ended, retorted the annoyed Karu. Well, this time I'm certain, replied Amoe, which gained everyone's attention. Think about it, no one knew that Naruto was Tsunade-sama's son, let alone he even existed until recently. No one had ever seen or heard anything about Tsunade of the Sannin in 12 years, meaning that she was in hiding with Naruto, when she was raising him. Since given how he would be the heir of the Senju clan and her son, a lot of people would be interested in him and go after him. At hearing this, Naruto smiled, as he was glad that Amoe understood, as he really didn't want to lose his friendships with Yugito and the others. Although that is true, he still could have trusted us enough to keep his secret, since we never reported him to the Raikage, spoke Samui. Upon hearing this, Naruto was of course surprised, as turned to Yugito, is that true? Yes, replied Yugito, along with a nod. Killer Bee-sensei believed it best to keep our first meeting with you a secret from the Raikage, as he believed that if the Raikage heard that there was a young boy capable of defeating me when I used the Nibi power, and who possessed 4 nature affinities naturally, then the Raikage would send out shinobis to track you down and either capture you or kill you, so to prevent you becoming a threat to our village. At hearing this, Naruto was of course surprised, as he didn't think that Yugito and the others would actually lie to their leader to protect him from their village. Hearing this of course made the young Senju heir feel even worse for lying to his friends, as he never thought they go so far for him. Guys, look, I do feel bad for lying to you and I am grateful for sticking your necks out like you did, but I couldn't take the chance that you would inform the Raikage about me, as I didn't want to put you in the situation where you would have to choose being loyal to your village or your friendship with me, since if you guys knew who I really was at the time, would you've really kept my true identity from the Raikage? At this, neither Yugito nor the others had any answer, since they all knew what Naruto said was true, as if they knew who Naruto really was at the time, they would be obligated, as loyal shinobis of their village, to inform their leader of Naruto's existence. But even after hearing this, Karu was of course not as understanding as her teammates were, as she still held a slight chip on her shoulder when involving Naruto, where when Naruto finished explaining, she of course scoffed. When Naruto heard Karu scoff, he of course frowned, as he knew that Karu probably still held some kind of grudge against him, as she never fully trusted him, like the others did. Is there a problem, Karu? Asked Naruto. Yea, there is, as I still don't believe you. You may have gotten the others here to believe your sob story here, but I still don't trust you, nor do I believe your little story, as after all you are dog of Konoha, replied the girl a little spitefully. At hearing this, Naruto of course frowned and stood up in anger, as even though he was an easy enough going person, there was still several things he would not stand for. One of these things being, that he would not stand for anyone insulting his village, since to Naruto, if someone insulted his village, then they were insulting his clan along with his father the Yondaime and disgracing the sacrifices they made to protect Konoha. He also would not stand for anyone calling him a dog. Look, Karu, I get that you never really liked or trusted me all that much, but I suggest that you get over your petty little grudge over me beating you, as I won't stand for you or anyone else insulting my village, said Naruto angrily. At hearing this, Karu also became angry, where she then stood up and glared at Naruto. The fact that I never trusted you proves that I was right all along, as you did lie to us, as you were with another village just like I said, retorted the dark-skinned girl, as she didn't want to admit to the others that still held a slight grudge against Naruto over him humiliating her, both at the time of their first meeting and what happened earlier on when they met Naruto again in the street. If you expect me to be sorry for lying to you and the others, Karu, then I'm afraid to disappoint you, because I'm not, as I did what I had to protect my family. Since you all know just as well as I do, that if I had told you the truth, then you obligated to tell the Raikage and he would have then hunted both my family and me down. Also for your information, I was not with Konoha when I met you guys, as I only joined Konoha and started living here 6 months ago, as I was traveling with my mother for most of my life. Who doesn't even know about us either, as I haven't told anyone about meeting you guys either, responded Naruto. After Naruto said this, an intense staring match began between him and Karu, where the two Genin glare angrily at one another. Seeing how things were starting to heat up between Karu and Naruto, Amoe immediately became concerned. Oh man, this is getting out of hand. What if a fight breaks out between Naruto and Karu? What if me and the others get caught up in the fight? What if I have to fight Naruto? I don't want to fight a friend. Okay guys, I think you both should step back and calm down, as there's no need for things to go overboard. Especially you Karu, as we're not here to start a fight, spoke Amoe as he stood between his teammate and his friend. Stay out of this Amoe, this is between me and him, spoke Karu as she continued to glare angrily at Naruto, where she clicked her katana open, ready to draw it out and fight. Seeing this, Naruto frowned and prepared to draw his own katana. I suggest that you think carefully about what you're about to do, Karu, and not do something stupid, because if you do I won't hold back like last time. Before Karu could respond to this comment, or before Yugito and the others could stop Karu from attacking Naruto, a new voice, which was clearly female, suddenly spoke up. I suggest that you do what he says, girly. Upon hearing this new voice, the five Genin suddenly saw two blurs coming through the open window on their right hand side, after which two new figures appeared right next to Naruto. These two new figures were none other than Naruto 2 senseis Yamato and Kushina. Naturally, upon seeing the two Jonin senseis, the four Kumo Genin became concerned, especially upon seeing that Kushina, who was well known for not only being a powerful and skilled kunoichi, but was also well known for her strong dislike of their village. Burati Shinku no Ikari, Bloody Crimson Fury, thought Samui with some worry, as he recognized Kushina from the picture she had seen of her in Kumo's bingo book. Shit, thought Karu, as she knew she was in trouble. Crap, nice going, Karu, thought Amoe. Man, what are we going to do? Should we try to make a break for it, or should we give up? And if we do, are they going to take us away and interrogate us and make us talk, or will they kick us out of the village and stop us from entering the Chunin exam? This is not good, thought Yugito, where she silently cursed her luck, as they didn't need to cause a situation right before the Chunin exam, where they could be denied entry into the exam for starting trouble in the village. Kushina-sensei, Yamato-sensei, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto, when he saw his two senseis. We came here looking for you, as you were supposed to meet us at the training ground half an hour ago, answered Kushina, making Naruto silently curse, since he'd completely forgotten about his meeting with his senseis, after his meeting with Gaara, Yugito and the others. Indeed, and I'm sure that you can also imagine our surprise when we saw you here with a group of Kumo Genin, where you were about to get into a fight with one of them, Yamato stated as he stared at the Kumo Genin. Care to tell us what is happening, Naruto? Asked Kushina, with a look that told Naruto that he better come clean or else. Crap, moaned Naruto inside his mind, as he knew he was in trouble but had no other choice but to tell the truth. For the next half hour, Naruto explained how he knew Yugito and the others, where when he finished both Kushina and Yamato had slight frowns on their faces. Naruto, you know you should not have hidden this from us, berated Yamato, where he then stared at the four Kumo Genin. I'm sorry, sensei, but if I had told any of you, you would have told Gigi and he would have told Ka-chan, where she would have blown the whole thing out of proportion. Since I never told any of them who I really was and they only recently found out for themselves, said Naruto. Is this true? Asked Yamato as he stared at Yugito and the others, where they all nodded. Well, if this is indeed true, and if you are all such good friends, then why is it that you look ready to attack Naruto? Spoke Kushina with a serious tone and look, as she stared at Karu, since she had been the one that Kushina and Yamato saw ready to attack Naruto. Before Karu could reply to Kushina's question, Yugito quickly stepped forward. I apologize for my teammate's response to Naruto-san. When we met Naruto-san, we only wanted to talk to him and have him explain his reasons for lying to us when we first met him. Unfortunately though, things got out of hand, as Karu had some unresolved issues when it concerns Naruto-san. And do the rest of you have any of these unresolved issues concerning Naruto? Asked Kushina. No, we have no issues with Naruto-san, replied Yugito truthfully, where both Samui and Amoe nodded in support, since after hearing Naruto's side of the story, they understood why Naruto lied to them. Good, now if you don't mind, we would like to talk to our student in private, said Kushina with an emotionless tone, as she still did not trust the Kumo Genin. Knowing that it was time to go, Yugito signaled her team to leave, where they all got up and began to walk out of the apartment, but before they could leave, they suddenly heard Naruto call out to them just as they were opening the door. Guys, wait. What is it, Naruto-san? Asked Samui coolly without a hit of emotion. Look, I know that lying to you guys about who I really was is not the best way to start a friendship, but I was hoping we could still be friends. At this, Karu scoffed, but before she could make a comment, Yugito spoke up. Perhaps, after the exam has ended, but until then we're your enemies, so I suggest that when we face each other again, you not hold back, as will not. At this, Naruto nodded in understanding and smiled a little. Well, I look forward to when we face each other, spoke Naruto, where Yugito just nodded and opened the door and walked out with her team. See you around, Naruto, said Amoe, before he followed his team out and closed the door behind him. Once Yugito and the others left the apartment, Naruto turned around to face his sensei, who were less than pleased. Not that they were angry that Naruto was friends with people outside their village. The reason they were displeased with him was that he kept this from them and risked his safety when he was in hiding with his mother. After discussing the matter with him for a few minutes, they told him that they would have to inform the Hokage of this, since he needed to know. Naruto of course understood this and sighed, as he knew that when his mother returned to Konoha, she would blow a gasket after hearing how he met with foreign shinobis and didn't tell her. After the matter was settled, Naruto decided to ask his senseis why exactly they wanted him. So why exactly did you want to talk to me? The reason we called you is because we wanted to give you this, spoke Yamato as he handed Naruto an application for entering the Chunin exam. When Naruto saw this, he smiled with excitement at having a chance at becoming Chunin, as well as the opportunity of finally proving himself to everyone that he was more than just the son of Tsunade the Slug Princess. But as he was getting excited over entering the Chunin exam, a realization suddenly hit him. But wait, sensei, how can I enter the Chunin exam? I need to be on a team, don't I? Yes you do, but you'll be placed on a team and work with them, replied Kushina. Which team will that be? Well, given how well you and Team 7 handled yourselves during the mission in Nami no Kuni, you'll be working with them during the exam. Upon hearing this, Naruto groaned a little, as he'd hoped he would work with someone else this time, like Team 8 or Team 10, as at least he got on better with the members of those teams. Soon enough Naruto got over his annoyance and signed the application, which Yamato took and then told Naruto that in 3 days' time, he would meet the rest of Team 7 at the academy, where the first part of the exam would be held. Nodding in understanding, Naruto then asked his senseis if he could do some extra training with them before the exam, as after meeting Gaara and seeing Yugito again, who he was certain was much stronger than she was when he last met her, he knew that he needed to be as strong as possible, if he wanted to win in the exam. Naturally both Kushina and Yamato agreed, where the three of them headed off to Training Ground 4. The next day in a nearby training ground currently standing in Training Ground 12, two young genins were training hard in preparations for the Chunin exam which their sensei had entered them into this year. One of them was a tall young boy with dark bowel-shaped hair and very distinctive bushy eyebrows and wore green jumpsuit, orange leg warmers, and wore his red forehead protector as a belt. The other genin was another young boy, who was clearly from the Hyuga clan, given his eyes. This boy was also fairly tall with long, dark brown hair that reached the middle of his back, which was tied back a few inches above the end, while two straps attached to a smaller headband underneath his ninja forehead protector framed the sides of his face. He wore a khaki shirt and dark brown shorts and had bandages wrapped around his right arm, chest, and right leg. Both boys were training hard in their own individual taijutsu styles, knowing that they need to be at top form to pass the exam. As they were training they soon heard a female voice crying out their names to gain their attention. Hey Neji, Lee. When the boy turned around to where the voice was coming from, they saw their other teammate running towards them, with an excited look on her face. The person in question was a tall young girl with brown hair that was tied up in Chinese-style buns. The girl wore a pink sleeveless blouse and dark green pants and wore her headband around her forehead, underneath her fringe. Yosh Tenten, the flames of youth are truly burning brightly in you today. What has made you so excited today? Asked the young boy named Lee. For once I agree with Lee, what is the matter Tenten? Asked Neji, as he too was generally curious about what had gotten his teammates so excited. Panting slightly from running so much, the young girl named Tenten spoke. Fant, I just overheard some of the Jonin talking in the Dengo bar, where they said that several rookie genin teams are entering the Chunin exam this year. After hearing this Neji raised his left eyebrow at the news. Although that is interesting news, I still do not see why it has gotten you so excited. Well, there is more to it. You know that young Uchiha kid named Sasuke that people talk about sometimes? Asked the young girl, which got a nod from her teammates. Well, his team is entering the exam this yet, but that's not the best news of all. I also overheard the two Jonin say that Tsunade-sama's son, Senju Naruto is also entering the exam. Spoke Tenten, who was giddy with excitement at the possible chance of meeting and talking with the son of her idol. Yosh, the same Senju Naruto, who Guy Sensei says defeated his General Hatake Kakashi during his team test, which no one has ever passed before, cried Lee. Do not be a fool Lee, that is just a rumor, there is no possible way for a genin to defeat a veteran shinobi, scoffed Neji, as he had heard the same rumors as well and refused to believe them. I gotta agree with Neji as well Lee, I think Guy Sensei was just overstating things when he said that, as there's no way a genin fresh out of the academy can defeat a fully trained Jonin, even if he is Tsunade-sama's son, spoke Tenten. But still I don't think we should underestimate him either, as the rumors do say that he was trained by Tsunade-sama herself. At this Neji nodded, as that was indeed very likely, since it made sense for Tsunade to train her own son. Yosh. Then that only means that I'll have to train twice as hard to defeat such strong opponents as Uchiha Sasuke and Senju Naruto, cried Lee, where he ran off to train even more. Upon seeing the antics of their other teammate, both Tenten and Neji sighed in embarrassment, where Neji muttered fool and Tenten just shook her head. But even still both Jinan knew their teammate had the right idea, as they still needed to train more for the exam. As Tenten walked over to the target posts, the bun-haired girl thoughts were full on a certain blonde-hair boy and began to think up ways in how she could introduce herself to said boy, where at some later point she could ask him to introduce her to his mother. Neji on the other hand just focused his full attention on improving his Juken, gentle fist, fighting style, as he believed this was all according to fate's plan for him and that it was his destiny to enter and succeed in the Chunin exam. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed part 7 to Senju Naruto. If you guys have read my newest community post you would see that I dislike this series a lot now, due to the fact that it is a harem fanfic, but I'm just gonna stop rambling. I wish all of you a wonderful day/night, bye.